Today we will be doing the neutral tier list. Neutrals have the most cards, so it might be the longest one of these, but we will see. And we're just going to mention right off the bat here that neutrals are kind of by their nature a bit more niche than the in-faction cards. At least how I see it is neutral cards are meant to fill in spots in decks or spots in factions that don't have specific cards. And if you don't have that specific option or that tool, you grab it from neutral and put it in your deck. And typically the in-faction options that are similar operate a little bit better, but if you don't have it in your faction or your deck has some kind of restriction, you can take the option from the neutral cards and put it in your deck. That being said, that means I think the cards that'll be ranked pretty highly on here will probably be a little less seen than the in-faction cards, but I still think they deserve their ranks when I put them in the top tier or something like that. Speaking of the tiers, we have the excellent tier, which are excellent cards. They're very, very strong. They're either a often chosen tool to put in your deck, or they might be good enough to make a specific deck work on their own. We have good cards, which are just solid options to consider when making your deck. Like I said, for the neutrals, these are by design a little bit more specific than the in-faction cards. So if it's a good option, I would consider it a good card here. Okay cards are things you might consider, but probably not. Either they're too much weaker than your in-faction options, or they're just power crept by something else in neutral. There are a lot of neutral cards, and some of them do similar things, which means this might be one we fill up quite a bit here. We'll see. Niche cards are incredibly specific. The perfect example will be right here, Tainted Ale. They're cards that work extremely potently in specific setups or in specific decks, but the setups they have are so incredibly niche and are either countered by specific metas or just too hit or miss that I'm going to put them in the niche tier because they're so specific, but they're not necessarily bad or weak. Next, we have weak. These are cards that just probably need a buff. They're not good enough to really be considered. Maybe in a very specific situation or meta or very specific deck, you might consider it. But for the most part, you probably don't want to be playing them. And like I said, probably need buffs. Bad cards are just really bad. Don't play them. Yeah, they just need buffs. They're not very good, and they're just either not high enough of a value or their conditions too hard to meet or something. There's a lot of these probably. And meme cards. Meme cards are, you just play them for fun, right? They don't actually do anything good. Sometimes they can work, and as we say on all these videos, the point of playing the game is to have fun. And if you have fun by playing meme cards more than the good cards, go for it by all means. But those are the tiers. Let's get into cards here. We'll start off right off the bat. I've actually probably won in a bunch of the tiers at once. But let's begin with Erendite. Erendite has been nerfed. It's been changed. But it also has one of the best premium artworks in the game. I often have this one on my play button. It is really good. So at the end of your turn, if you have more power or more points than the opponent, you get one Erendite tick, which will do it damage. And then you keep building it up. It has Echo, so you play it in ideally round 2 and 3. In round 2, if you've been ahead the whole game, you play it for like 10, 12 points. In round 3, you play it for like 17. The really nice thing is that it has a very high damage ceiling, and excess damage boosts your lowest units. So it'll typically always get its value, unless you hit like a shield or something. But very strong effect. Works incredibly well in decks that want to win aggressively, like push tempo round 1 and 2, just play big points. Monsters in particular has a lot of decks that want to play this. I think it's just a very strong card. Stuff like Northern Realms Knights as well. A lot of decks will just run Erendite less than before after it was nerfed from 10 to 11, but I still think it's a very strong contender and a very good card. Agora True Form, a recent-ish buff. Yeah, recent. 9 provisions. She's the worst of the casino cards. Getting a random special is not really that good compared to something else. Like Uma's Curse is a random gold. Agora True Form I think's alright. Specifically, we'll mention she's only okay if you're playing casino decks. By like casino, I mean like casino with the Skellige, where you're making all kinds of random stuff. You're playing Uma's Curse, playing Shoop's Day Off, that type of thing. And then you shuffle them back in your deck and replay them. That deck, I think it's okay in that deck, but I think the other options are better. And as I will say here, these cards are being ranked in the decks you play them in. For example, we're not going to say that Erendite is a bad card because you're playing some no unit deck that has no points on the board. This is where they're being ranked as they would perform, I think, in their best situations, or where you would use them, I should say. Aguara is a good card. A little bit overshadowed by Directory of Vol because they both do a lock. Aguara is 2 provisions more for the unlock option. What keeps Aguara from being a tier lower than Directory is just the fact that she's a beast. The fact that she's a beast means Ren-free beast and beast with rain, like Aguara. And sometimes, actually fairly often, the 2 extra provisions, if you have them, it is nice to be able to unlock your card. So if you're playing a deck with some very strong engines or orders, and you want a lock and you have 2 extra provisions, it's usually worth upgrading to Aguara if you can afford it, just because the option to unlock your really good cards, the prime example here is like you're playing Rain Beast, and you unlock your Messenger of the Sea. Sometimes that's more valuable than locking the opponent's stuff, and the flexibility on Aguara makes it worth it. But if she wasn't a beast and didn't fit in those decks, she would be down a tier, but just because she works well there, we're going to put her here. Then we have the niche card here, Tainted Ale. Tainted Ale. Ooh, I deleted the wrong picture for Tainted Ale. Tainted Ale is like 16 or something now. Yeah, 16. I will make sure to adjust that. I know I had 2 Tainted Ale pictures. I deleted the wrong one here. Either that or I just called this one Ale. We have Tainted Ale further down. That's more likely. Yeah, we'll fix that. 1 second, guys. We fixed it. Tainted Ale is 16. I must have called one the wrong thing when I go through these. So we have the right picture for Tainted Ale here. I must have missed this one. I went through all the cards here to see if we had duplicates, but usually I just check if they're next to each other because it's hard to remember otherwise in my folder, and I must have named them different things that weren't next to each other. But yeah, Tainted Ale 16 provisions, specifically used in Armor Abuse Skellige, where you give your opponent, like you Sayana Operator, give them 2 of the Hemi Protectors, infused with the Ale, you get infinite armor. No, it's not actually infinite because turn times and stuff, but you just win if it goes off, and it's completely useless outside that deck. It doesn't really matter how many provisions this card is, that deck will always play it. A deck is super uncommon, unless you're at lower ranks. I don't know, because I don't play at lower ranks, but I've been told this deck's fairly common there, especially for new players to go up against. Yeah, it is what it is. It makes the deck work. That's about all there is to it. Alyssa. And the reason I'm putting this card here, even though it kind of makes the deck work, is because that deck is so specific, it just gets countered if you remove this. So, yeah, it's very meta dependent. In completely engine metas with no removal, you might get away with it, actually. Next up, we have Alyssa. Overall, Alyssa is pretty good. She has a very specific use. Like I said, for a lot of these neutrals, I think this is probably probably not the last time I'll say it. They're very specific by just being neutrals in general. So usually they have some use, and if that use is good, I'm going to put them up here. And her use is to recycle your specials. Typically you use this on either Waylay or Bountiful Harvest in the Squirtle. You shuffle the bronze special back. Shuffle the special back. If it's a bronze, you get a second copy of it, put back. You can also reshuffle your Golden Necker. Very impactful there. Your Shoop Stay Off. All those good cards. And she's just really good at doing that. If we take a look here, if we can spell anything, where is she? Oh, it's A-L-I. Yeah. So it does actually need both copies of the special in your graveyard. It doesn't create an extra one. Something I want to mention people have asked about before. But yeah, overall, she's a human mage. That usually doesn't matter. She's typically just played in those Scoia'tael decks, or if you really want to play like 3 Golden Neckers or something. But overall, very, very useful for what she does. All God's going up here. All God's very, very powerful. So you boost 3 cards in your deck by 2, and then you get 1 extra boost for each offering you're running in your deck. Offering will rank separately, even though often I rank these type of things together, but I think offering can be ranked separately. But All God. So typically you play him with the 2 offerings. You play All God, he boosts 5 units in your deck by 2. You're getting a total of 14 points there, 10 of which is carryover, assuming you play those. And that 10 points of carryover is exceptionally good. All God's a very powerful card. It sets up a lot of big finishers, things like the Witcher trio, Vesemir, Eskel, Lambert. You boost them all by 2. Then when they come out, instead of being a 12, or if you've Vesemir mentored, a 15-point play, all of a sudden it's a 21. That difference is important because it lets you play finishers that are bigger than your opponents. Also very good in decks that thin quite a bit and have other ways to summon out, so Nilfgaardian Soldiers, Nausicaa Brigades, another good option. And just any deck that can summon out a bunch of stuff at once. Precision Strike, you put the buffs on these buffs from these in the Brokilon Sentinels that summon out from the leader use. Overall, very good card. Alzur is good. Alzur has some spell decks. You do kind of build the deck with Alzur in mind. Like you play a spell, and I think this is the wrong Alzur image. I think he's 6. No, he's not. He's 5 still. Okay. Yeah, whenever you play a spell, spawn a random unit with the same provision cost. Very inconsistent. Unless there is provision costs where you know what you're going to get. So, for example, high value, high provision spells often give you big cards. Most often, you're going to combo this with the Scoia'tael card. Orb of Insight, right? It's a spell. You can trigger it comes back when its counters run out. So you can make sure you trigger it, right? You can like Oneiromancy this guy, and then the Orbs of Insight will go off and spawn a couple of 6-cost guys. It could be pretty good. Overall, it's pretty solid. I think the deck does really like him, and I think overall he's a pretty solid card, I would say. But he obviously has a very specific deck, and you can just run him outside of that. But it's hard to use him if you're not triggering spells the turn you play him, because you really need to get at least the first one off. You could do stuff with Francesca, where you Oneiromancy this Alzur out, play the Alzur, Francesca's second counter goes off, get Oneiromancy, stuff like that. But you really want a way to play a spell the turn you play him. So, that being said, I think he's pretty solid. Alzur's Double Cross. This is going in, where do we put this? I think this is going to go in good. It has one use. Alzur's Double Cross has one use, and that's to play V in the V deck as another time. That being said, you need to play V as many times as possible in the V deck, and V is a pretty anti-meta deck, depending on what the situation is. So I think it's just good. It plays V, it's good in that deck, and it's good for what it does. I will, pretty much every time I make a deck, I will check to see if Alzur's Double Cross would be a better tutor than Decree. It almost never is. Or in addition to Decree, I should say, which we'll get to later. But yeah, I think this really only can be used in V, although I often check other decks to see if it would work. But yeah, I think it is good, just because it's a good card in that deck. Is this Angelome? I'm sure I pronounced that wrong. She creates an artifact from the opponent's deck, and if they don't have one, she boosts herself, I think, by 6. Have to do a bunch of checking here. Yeah, 6. So if they don't have an artifact, it's terrible, right? 9 provisions is a mediocre, okay 6 provision card, not an 11. So you have to be making artifacts with her. That being said, some decks, for example, Nilfgaard Assimilate, they can usually use the opponent's artifacts. So the big thing here is you create the opponent's scenario, then you trigger it, is what you often want with her. I think she's going to go down here in the okay tier. Maybe in the weak. I think she'll go in the weak. So I haven't seen her in a super long time. And the only place you'd really run her is like Double Cross, Assimilate, where you use her. And typically you would be better off trying to run Shoop or Radea or something else in that type of deck, or leading more into Assimilates. So I don't think she really has a spot right now. Obviously, if you're playing a tournament and you know what the mirror match is going to be or something, then she could be pretty good. But sometimes artifacts are meta. And when artifacts are meta, for example, Mushy Truffle sometimes is meta. Just making a Mushy Truffle if you're playing Bonded can be good, but I think she's a little bit too expensive. And the downside when you get her and she's a 9 is really bad. At least 9's not super low, but you really need to be making the artifacts with her. And the other issue is sometimes your opponent's just playing Vile Forbidden Knowledge and that's it. And then you get to... It's not good, but yeah, I think I'm putting her here. Arcane Tome is good. Play a special out of your deck, give your opponent the tome. They can then use it to play special out of their deck. It is a Zeal order. And you will always have the option to play one more special than the opponent on your turn, right? So if on your turn you'll play 2, they would play 1. Then they would have to use it again. If they go last, they can use it the same number of times as you. But often you're playing a deck that the opponent, like you're playing a deck. The classic example here is like Golden Necker, right? You need to find the Golden Necker, or you need to find Shoop. Like some Shoop stay off. You need to find some specific special card, and you don't really care if the opponent's going to start playing some of their cards, or you really need to thin or something like that. And a lot of those decks have cards the opponent doesn't want to let you get the second search with. So often this card will end up just giving you a search and the opponent nothing, depending on the deck. But overall, it's a good card for what it does. It finds you the specials you need, and that's good. So I'm going to put it here. Armory is okay. Specifically, Armory is okay because Golden Necker Dwarves is a deck, and Armory can work pretty well there because you can boost up the 6 points, carry over the 3 armor. I don't think it's quite... It kind of is the best artifact for Golden Necker Dwarves. I still want to put it down here. I think there's enough neutral synergy and armor synergy that I'd like to see this card be buffed. And maybe have more uses than just what it has right now. So I think I'll put this down here. It is weak. Golden Necker Dwarves is a weird deck. But yeah, it's an interesting one. I think I'm going to put this here. I think it probably needs a buff, because Golden Necker Dwarves isn't nearly as common as the other ones. Artifact Compression, I'm going to put in good. It has fallen off a bit with the Dimeridium Shackle buff to 4 provisions a little while ago. But I still think Artifact Compression deserves to be up here. I think it deserves to be up here. It combines Dimeridium Shackles and Spores into 1 card for 1 extra provision. I think that's enough to be up a good card. Maybe it's only okay now. Yeah, I'm going to put it in okay now. If you ever have 5 provisions and are running a Dimeridium Shackles or a Spores in your deck, just bump it up to Artifact Compression. If you're playing a Shackles and then a card in your deck gets buffed, you're just like, oh, I got an extra provision. Boom. Compression's pretty good. I'm going to say it's okay. I think usually decks are hyper fixated on maximizing the value of their provisions, so much so that they either will run a lock or a reset and not want both on the same card. Because usually you get one of the effects to be good, right? You're either locking something that's dangerous, they don't get the ability, or you're resetting something tall. It's very rare you're resetting something tall that has a dangerous effect that's ongoing. This can happen on really big engines. For example, say they're playing some really tall Windhelm, for example, that just boosts himself each turn. You can reset it and it'll be locked so it won't keep boosting afterward. But usually you're getting one of the effects. You're paying like 1 extra provision for the flexibility. I think running the Spores or the Shackles is typically a slightly better option. But I think this card's perfectly viable. I just think people typically overlook it. I like this tier, I think. Avlok Sage, excellent card. 1 for 8. Tutors an artifact out of your deck. If your deck is running 3 or more artifacts, I would highly recommend running Avlok Sage. I think 3 or more is with the cutoff. If you have 3 or more artifacts, just run the Sage. It finds them. A really good example for this is something like Druids. We're going to run the Getting the Shadow, the Ale of the Ancestors, and the Mushy Truffle. Just being able to find the artifact you need at the right time is really good. Tutoring is really good. And tutoring for artifacts is more specific. Not every deck has enough, but if you have 3 artifacts, like Mutagenerator Temple, sometimes runs a 3rd one in there. Mutagenerator Temple Siege, that's a lot of provisions. But if you're doing something like that, just once you're at 3 artifacts, or if you are playing something like Traps, you want to find the, what's it called? The Sticky Situation early. Play him. But yeah, if you have a super important artifact and you're playing like 2 artifacts, also worth considering. So I think it's a very good card. Regular Avlok, though, is going to go in the little down here in weak. The thing with Avlok is he's 6 for 9 and he spawns Weather. One of the 3 weathers. That is a total of 12 for 9 value. A little bit on the low end of what you want there, but not terrible. It's not too bad. The issue for him is you're only going to play him if you want weather synergy, and the weather-based decks have more efficient ways to create the weather effects. The biggest example here is Rain, right? Kelpie is a 9 provision card. Kelpie also has an engine effect and will often make more than 3 turns of Rain. Even in Golden Necker, you don't really need the extra Rain turns. And the other deck that would play this, well, theoretically, the other weather deck is Frost, and Frost is a devotion deck, so you're never going to play this in it. Which really means you're going to play this in either a non-devotion Golden Necker Frost deck, which is not nearly as good as regular Frost. I've tried it quite a bit, actually. It's fun, though. Or you're going to try and play this in Rain, where you're not running Kelpie. So that's a situation where you might do that, but that's so random. But yeah, I think it puts this in weak. It just doesn't have a spot. The value's not high enough, and it has nothing that synergizes with enough. It just kind of needs to be a value card, and it's just a little bit too expensive or low power to be a value card. It's almost there, but I think overall not quite. Verification, a very good card. I will debate here quite a bit. So Verification has been hurt quite a bit because of Megascope. So I guess we should pull up Megascope for a second here. Megascope is 5 provisions, and then you copy a unit, right? So Verification. You can you transform an artifact into an Elder Bear, and if it's a artifact of yours, the Elder Bear gets plus 4 points. So if you transform your own artifact, it's a 9 for 5. Pretty good. If you transform an opponent's artifact, they get a tempo play. You give them tempo, but you've removed an artifact. It's the cheapest artifact removal in the game. It is the only artifact removal you can run in Golden Necker. And for that reason, it has some spots. The thing with Verification is you really want to be playing at least a couple of your own artifacts. So you can transform your own. Because the opponent isn't playing one, you can't play the card. Megascope being 5 provisions, at 4, Megascope was kind of everywhere in a lot of different decks. And you're like, whatever, I can Verification Megascope once it's used up its effect. I think Verification is still a good card. It has some pretty good uses. And if Megascope's ever buffed again, I'm just going to say it's excellent, because Megascope's really good when it's 4 provisions. So for now, though, I think it's a good card. It has some spots. Very useful. I think I'm going to put it here. Dark Mirror. Fascinating card, this one. So Dark Mirror either boosts or damages a boosted unit by twice the amount of the boost, or boosts a damaged unit by twice the amount of the damage. So you've got a 10 power unit, 10 power base unit, and it's boosted to like 15, say an Olaf or whatever, it would take 10. Or if you have, let's do Olaf again, say your Olaf's a 5 and it's already used its order, you can boost it by 10 with Dark Mirror. What Dark Mirror does not remove stuff, typically. Unless it's really tall. That being said, it's a good tall punish card, but it's too expensive. Right? It's 8 provisions. You have to guarantee you can get value out of it. The only place that plays Becker's Dark Mirror is Sigvald All Index. Because Sigvald, once you boost it with something like Mardrome a couple times, or Mardrome, and then maybe like a leader Mardrome because you're playing Battle Trance, your Sigvald's like 22 points. You hit it with Dark Mirror. Dark Mirror tries to do like 30 damage to it, and it's 30 bleeding, and you just hit the Sigvald into something else. Very Widmore situation, but you can just like solo decks that don't have a way to kill Sigvald that way. I think it's too expensive. I would like to see this card be buffed, so you might be able to use it as a tech card, as a punish, or a payoff card if you're playing like a high base power deck. I think it could be interesting, something like Relics. But right now, I think it's just too weak. And I think it's actually weak enough to go in bad if it wasn't for the Sigvald thing. So I'm going to drop it here. Becker's Rock Slide is 7 provisions. I'm pretty sure it's on here. Give me a second. I probably just called it Rock Slide. All right, Becker's Rock Slide. Fix that up there. 8 damage for 7 provisions. Not efficient. It's not efficient for points. And typically 6 damage is the cutoff for most scary cards where they're 6 power. That being said, that has been slowly changing throughout the Balance Council. A lot of things that were 6 power, not a lot, some things that were 6 power have very dangerous abilities have moved to 7 if they're expensive. So that's something to consider. I don't think Rock Slide Rockslide weird because it can't. I don't believe it can ever go to 6 provisions because there's a lot of 6 provision in faction removals that do 6 damage. So this card can't be buffed past 7. Yeah, I don't believe this card can be buffed past 7. Because 8 damage for 6, it just power creeps all of the in-faction 6 for 6 cards. Huh. It's a weird spot to be in. Couple questions. We put it in meme because it can't go to 6. And would never probably be played at 7. Do we leave it here? I will make the executive decision here. I don't think this card is that bad if you're playing Alzer. Because it is a spell. So I think for the Alzer thing, I'm going to leave this card in niche. Do I like this? Nah, I don't like it. I'm putting it down here. I don't think Alzer decks play it. Yeah, the fact this can't be buffed, I still think it's bad. Is there ever a time I want 8 damage for 7 provisions? If it was in faction, it might be used in devotion decks, but it's not in any faction, right? So, yeah, I'm gonna put it down here. It's just not good. It's not bad enough to quite be meme, but I'll leave it here because of the Alzur's energies. We'll leave it in a week. Berengar, very good card. 11 for 6, very good stat line. Destroys itself, you don't have a Witcher on its row. Usually not a problem either, because you're going to have Witchers since the Witcher decks. The Witcher decks spawn a lot of tokens. A lot, not a lot, like, they spawn decent number of tokens. Skillgo does spawn a lot. Northern Realm spawns some tokens as well. So you don't really have to worry about the downside of him ever. He's typically just your big guy, you play him. Usually boosted by Vesemir Mentor or something. And you can also do stuff with Drakenborg in the sky, where you Drakenborg, summon him out, locks himself. A little bad if they would purify him, but I'd say just overall good value card. Black Blood, ooh. Now, I personally really like this card. I'm going to put it in okay. Black Blood's okay because of Toussaintoi Hospitality. I think it's the only time you play this is you play Toussaintoi Hospitality. And the reason why it's good there is not just because you buff the opponent's stuff with knights or something. You play Black Blood, then you play the Boo Hurt from the leader on an opponent's card. You destroy an enemy, just unconditional destroy, and you boost yourself by 9. It's a huge tempo play. Like, that's bigger than Eskel. It does cost a leader charge, though. But it's only a 7 Persian card. So I think because of that, it has a spot. I don't think it's the best spot. I think there's some things that are better. But it's worth, if you haven't done it, it's worth trying out. It is a very big play that will hit people for surprise a lot, like surprise people all the time. I think it's that specific spot I think will make it go here. So I Synthesis Blaze, the finisher for destroying all your opponent's units constantly the entire game, like bomb decks. I think it's fine. As far as finishers go for payoff, this is an expensive one, right? If you think about finishers for decks, stuff like Caranthir Golden Child, stuff like Dusk Aspect, something like Herald Gord. They're like 7 or 8 provisions. 9, sometimes 9 like Ivo. Actually, he's 10. But the idea is it's kind of expensive. Paying 11 for this? Yeah, it has the lineage. I would say it's probably good. I wouldn't put in top tier. It's probably good. For bomb decks, hyper control decks, it's a good finisher card. Dragon Bombs, Dragon Precision Strike, that type of stuff. So we'll put it here. White Frost has been changed. This is Blizzard now, right? It's got Blizzard. This does have initiative. I'm not making that up, right? This is initiative. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Destroy the lowest powered unit. Initiative, destroy all of them. This is a definition of an anti-meta card. I'm putting this in niche. If the meta best deck is a token spam deck of low power tokens, Tatterwing, by far the best example of this. Tatterwing's usually a very strong deck, sometimes the strongest deck, depending on the balance council. It's usually up there, though. If Tatterwing becomes meta, you can just slot in White Frost and go, hey, That's like 21 power tokens and units you've made over there. You don't have a board. So it can work really well. Also, when wide dwarves are super popular, you can just go, hey, that's a bunch of dwarf tokens. Boom, they're gone. So it has uses. I just think they're very meta-dependent uses. And for that reason, I can go in here. It does also see play just in no unit monsters. That's just another way to kill stuff. So I think I'm going to put this in niche. I think it has spots. And it's meta-dependent. Blue Dream. This card is actually quite good because of Verdant Roche. So, Verdant Roche, you guys, I don't know if you probably know all the cards here talking this point, but Verdant Roche here. Disloyal, play top the cards from your deck. He's disloyal, which means you just blue dream him from the opponent's graveyard, and then you play 4 cards off the top of your deck. So you thin by 4, you just play an engine overload decks, or like ship ballista decks, which are also engine overload, I guess. But you just play the Verdant Roche twice, and this card is really good for that. Outside of that, it's not good. But as long as Verdant Roche is in range of Blue Dream, I think Blue Dream is a good card. If Verdant Roche is not in range of Blue Dream, this card is kind of really bad. So because of that, I will put it in good because Verdant Roche looks like it's going to stay at 9. It's been balanced a lot, allegedly balanced, but it's typically going to be around 9. I think that this is a viable ranking. Caretaker's weak. You're paying 7. It's 7 for 9. It has Purify, cooldown 2 Purify. This has the same problem as Gremist and the same upside as Gremist. So the main thing is like they poison, right? If they poison, you can keep removing poisons. If they poison, you play this, you purify the poison. They have to poison the Caretaker or kill it some other way before they can resume poisoning. The problem is Gremist is a 6 for 6. This is a 9 provision card. So you really, really need to get multiple purifies out of this, and they have to be good. It is a relic, which is something. Like, relics don't want their self-eaters getting locked, but that's what Carapace is for. You don't really need this. So I think I'm going to put him in bad. I would like Caretaker to be playable. I would like this card to be playable. I would kind of want him to be big. Like, maybe like an 8 for 8 would be interesting, where he's actually getting like decent value as a tempo thing. Maybe that's too much. I don't think it is. I think he's bad, though. I think he needs buffs. And this is a card I would like to see buffed. Cleaver. Oh, no, even Cleaver was the original name. Now it's Carlo. And I'm pretty sure he's been buffed. Yeah, this is the buffed one. Okay. Actually, it hasn't been buffed yet. Not quite yet. But anyway, Carlo. Oh, we might as well show you guys here while I pulled it up. So, deploy melee, damage M unit by 1 for each card in your hand. Problem with this is he's only good at the start of a round. He has the same play pattern typically as Predatory Dive and Imperial Manticore, where you can punish an opponent's big opening card, or like a Shoop's Day Off in round 3. If the opponent does a big opening card, and you hit him with this 9 damage to punish him. Yeah. Like, sure, you can kill Griffin Witcher with Crystal Skull on it, but it's not good. Unicorn Kyronax. These guys are super strong, and obviously they go together. So they're both 9 provisions, they're both 4 power, they both do 3 of something and 6 if the opponent of the opposite is on board. Or on board in hand, I should say. So yeah, we have Unicorn Kyronax. Kyronax does 3 damage, and then if the Unicorn's in hand, you can play the Unicorn. I'll pull them up. I'll just pull one of them up. Unicorn boosts you by 3. If you control Kyronax, boost by 6. If you have Kyronax in hand, you also play it, then draw a card. So you always want these together. You play the first one. The first one plays for 7 total value. Then the second one will play for 10 value. So you get 17 for 18 plus a card draw. The really nice thing about the Unicorn and the Kyronax is they go in the same turn, and it gives you access to a 6 damage ability. The 6 damage from Kyronax is much better than the Unicorn 6 boost most of the time. And the reason this is so good is because it just gives you a 6 damage ability in Golden Necker and in decks that don't play specials, so Renfree. Renfree and Golden Necker love these cards because they're fantastic there. They synergize really well. They also work really well in Relics, because Relics get effects when you play Relics. They want to tempo out with Self Eaters. These two work perfectly there. You could use it in Scoia'tael with the Quirixis, although that's a lot less common. But overall, these guys are just really good for what they do. Siri Dash. If Siri Dash draws you a card, it's phenomenal. If Siri Dash does not draw you a card, you played a 6 for 10 that died to some 6 provision removal card. It has a place. It has places in what's it called? Keltalis decks that have things the opponent has to remove, right? Because they have Carapace. Yeah, you don't get the Veil necessarily, but if you Crystal Skull this, it's really dangerous. You want to play in a deck that inherently plays Defender, which is why it's so good in Keltalis. But other than that, it doesn't really get played. But the effect is very strong, right? Cool, or timer 4, draw a card. Drawing a card is probably the strongest effect in the game, which is why it's so limited. I am not comfortable putting her down here just because of the Keltalis stuff. I will put her in niche, I think. Serenova. I'm gonna not be controversial here and put Serenova in good. I think this would be controversial. I think she's borderline though. I'll put her up here. 8 with 8 resilience. 8 carryover is very good. It's 16 for 9 total value. Yes, you have the deck building restriction, but you don't play Serenova decks to play Serenova. You play them to play Golden Necker, which we'll get to later. But yeah, she's fine. I have come way down off of Serenova. When I first made videos on YouTube, well, not first made videos, that was StarCraft 2. But when I first made Gwent videos, I love Serenova. But she's been really, kind of power crept, to be honest. She's not a bad card. She's not even close to a bad card. But often in the Golden Necker decks you play her, she's just one of your 9 provision options. And I often cut her because there are things that just synergize better in the deck. That being said, I still think I would put her up here and not just drop her down. I think she's a good card. I think she probably deserves to be up here. But I personally am not the biggest fan of her anymore. Then we have Siri, 6 for 9, and then you do the 3 damage. Well, 1 damage to 3 things. If you lose the round, you put her back in your hand. That's effectively a draw effect. She's actually pretty good now. She's been buffed a few times, and now she's pretty good. 6 kind of demands removal, of gold removal, and she plays 9 for 9, which means you're playing a very dangerous card that plays for 9 points. And the big deal here is with her buffs is when she goes back in your hand, if you have to keep her by mulliganing other cards, you still get a 9-point play, which is above average. Probably above average for your deck. I think she's good now. Colossal Ifrit. Ooh, the Construct package. Do I rank all these together? No, I don't think so. I think they're different. This one really depends on the other ones, though. Actually, we are going to rate them together. Where are they? Colossal Enraged. I think this makes the most sense. Living Armor as well. We'll have this little section. Where is Primordial Dow? That should be the 4 neutral ones. Yeah, let's rank those 4. We'll do these together because of Colossal. So, Colossal Ifrit does 1 damage to 3 adjacent units. So you click the middle one, it hits them all, and then it goes up. They don't have a keyword, right? Actually, I don't think they have a keyword. I think it's just for each construct you've played. Yeah, they don't have a keyword like dragons do. A little strange. Dragons got their own keyword, and these guys didn't. Yeah. I will mention here when we're talking about the constructs, there are a couple of in-faction constructs. Nilfgaard has Imperial Golem, and then Frenzied Dow is neutral. Oh, we didn't put Frenzied Dow together here. 1 second, let's grab him. It might be the best one, but we'll see. There we go. So let's talk about them in the order here. Let's start with Colossal, I guess, because in order first. So Colossal Ifrit, if you play all of the constructs, the Colossal Ifrit will do 5 damage to 3 things. That's a 20-point play. That's really good. It will count himself because the ability is a Zeal Order. And if it cools down, you can do the 15 damage again. Really good. A big finisher play. You can enhance this even more. In Nilfgaard, you have Imperial Golem, which you can play and do another one. You can also, in Nilfgaard, play Cynthia and give the opponent the Guardian token on top of their deck, then abduct it, which is another one, which is why I love Nilfgaard Construct so much. You get more value there. The other big one is you can play this in Skellige, and you can Lippy the constructs back into your deck. Super fun as well, especially because you get to reuse this guy. And overall, Colossal Ifrit is a very good card, I think. Like, you kind of play constructs, not necessarily to play Colossal Ifrit, but because a lot of the constructs are just good together. I will put Colossal Ifrit... I'm going to put it up here. I think Colossal Ifrit's really good. Next up, we have Enraged Ifrit, also going up here. Construct Package, I think, is good enough now that I would justify it being up here. Enraged one does 5 damage, and then each time you play Construct, it does more. Typically, this can do like 8 or 9 damage, at which point it's getting an actually decent amount of value in addition to just removing pretty much whatever you want. So that's pretty good. Primordial Dow, you just play it because it's a construct and you're playing the other ones. In certain matchups, it is the best last say. For example, in no unit Erendite decks or in against like Skellige raids, this is the one you save to last play because of the shield. So sometimes it's the best one to save, but typically you just play it because you're playing the rest of them. Frenzied Dow can be played without the rest of the constructs. If you just play it to play one Rock Slide out of your deck in something like Milva Sharpshooter decks, or if you're just playing this in like a Monsters Tempo deck where you want to thin in a control card off of it, it's actually fine to play this with one Rock Slide by itself. I think overall that makes me want to put this one up here. And then, do I want to rank these all together as a package? I don't really want to. I think this one's notably weaker than the others. And do I think these deserve to be in the excellent tier? Yeah, I do. I think they're good enough. Construct Dwarves is really good. Not really good. No, it's good. Construct Dwarves is good. Construct Nilfgaard, I think, is a strong deck. Each time I play it, it's not that hard to get 2,500 plus with it. But that's probably true of just... Might be just a sign of the current players not trying that hard. But yeah, overall, I think this was a little weaker than the ones. I do think this deserved to be up here. Then we have Living Armor. Living Armor, yes, it's a construct. I think Living Armor is best if you're using Living Armor for its armor synergies, not necessarily as a construct in the construct package. There's some really fun stuff you can do with Living Armor. So the reason Construct Dwarves in particular I think is really nice is because you have the Marauder who just boosts himself the amount of armor on a unit, and this guy's got 10 armor. So that's a 14 for 5. You also have the Alchemist, the Nilfgaardian guy who swaps powers. You give something 10 power, and Living Armor can't be swapped because it has power equal to armor, so it stays at 10. You just make something at 10. That's pretty good. There's a lot of stuff you could do with armor gain, stuff like... not necessarily as good as some other things, but the Armorer's Workshop does give armor, which will boost him and then boost your other guys. Dennis doesn't work on this guy because it doesn't get the boost. It just stays at its armor level. Armory works as well. Mantlet can be fun if you want to play with armor gain that way. But I think overall Living Armor, I'm going to put up here in good. I think it's a lot more niche than the others. I don't think it's going to go in excellent because it's not really good because of being a construct. Like, these guys are really good, kind of on their own merits, right? This card's really good because it potentially thins 2, does 8 damage with movement. That's really good. Playing 2 Rock Slides is incredible with this. I don't think I mentioned that. I think everyone knows it. But yeah, playing 2 Rock Slides with this is super good. This just has good damage. This is a big finisher. This guy doesn't really fit up there. He kind of fits in his own little thing, own little category. But I think I will put Living Armor and good. Most of the things Living Armor is good at that it does on its own are more meme strategies, like the Alchemist, but it is very good for Marauders, the Dwarves. If you're going to play a pure construct deck that's not playing the Marauders, like say you're playing a Nilfgaard one, I think it's the first one you cut. I wouldn't play it there, because I think you have other ways to get more. but I think it's good enough to put here. I'd say it's probably good. Horn. Okay. Commander's Horn's okay. How do I want to rank this? There's two decks that play Commander's Horn. Lippy Saris and Crows play Horn, because they very consistently get enough units for the Horn to get good value. So Horn boosts 5 adjacent units by 2, which is 10 points, and they get an extra for each gold unit next to them. So obviously the best setup is to get as many alternating bronze golds as you can. So you have 2 golds on the end, then 2 bronzes, 2 golds, and a bronze. However you want to do it. I think that's the best setup. I think you can cap this thing at like, what is that? Oh no, we shouldn't have tried to do the mental math here. I think you can cap this thing like 18 or something. Because you have golds on the outside. The end ones will have 4. Then you'll have 2 golds that get 2. That's 12. Then you have 2 bronzes that are 4. Yeah. So two end bronzes with golds next to them is 4. Then you have 2 golds that each get 2. That's 12. And you have 1 bronze in the middle, right? That's 4. So 16 is the cap. Okay. 16 for 7 is really good. Even if you only have a couple of extra golds, just getting like a 12 for 7 is really good too. So those decks, we mentioned the Crows and the Saris ones, because they very easily summon a whole bunch of guys to one row where you could use the Commander's Horn. I haven't seen it be played that much in those decks recently though. Usually they try and focus just getting more of their guys or more consistency, but it's an alright option there. Also, this is a Warfare, I believe, so you can play this. Yeah, it is a Warfare. You could play this in Northern Realms and just tutor it. If you're playing a wide boosty type deck, maybe something with Meave, something with Lyrian Scytheman, something with Uprising, you want to be a little fun, you can do it there, because you can tutor it, which is interesting. I might have to try that out soon, but yeah, interesting card. Typically not quite as strong as other ones, but I think I'll put it in this tier. Cosmo, very good. Cosmo is very good. Transforms the adjacent cards into ones that 1 version higher. The best way to use this is on things that are low power or have a downside, so ideally both. Highwaymen, the clear example here. If they get exposed, they go back in your deck. They're only 1 power. You just want them to thin out, and then you transform them with Cosmo. Really good. 1 power tutors. There's a lot of those now. Transform to 1 version higher. Super random, but if Cosmo gets you like 4 points, you're pretty happy. Like 3 or 4 points on each one. It's really good. And Cosmo has a lot of high roll, low roll potential, because you can transform things into 1 power tutors, like we mentioned, or you can transform the 1 power tutors into like an 8 power guy, like, I don't know, a bunch of choices. Just really often will get his value, though. Here we go. Okay. So, Count Caldwell. Used to be a big guy, and if your deck was really big, you could take the Count Caldwell and just keep the points. At this point, he's not really that big anymore. He's just too small. Really fun card, though. For those of you who have actually never played with this card, this used to be used, actually. Very fun card, though. At the end of your turn, moves it to the row with the highest power unit on the battlefield, excluding itself. If it changed sides, it gains spying. Very fun card. You can move it between your own rows as well. But the problem is, it's just not big enough to be a payoff. It's just too small. Maybe those 5 provisions, it could be spicy. Maybe that'd be spicy, but I think monsters might abuse it. I don't know. It's just not good. Curse of Corruption's an excellent card, though. Destroy the highest power unit. If your deck doesn't play a lot of tall stuff, so Dwarves comes to mind as the most obvious example that plays this a lot. The Wide Dwarves. They love this card. You're playing Golden Necker that doesn't boost. Really good card as well there, because you get Destroy. This really good tech option. If your deck doesn't go tall, play Curse of Corruption, destroy stuff, really good. Cyprian Wily, aka our syndicate buddy in a different name. Okay. He banishes a 4 power or lower unit. Really needs to hit something good. That being said, Banishing Madoc is the typical one here you go for. Banishing Flying Redanian, those are the big ones. Most commonly played in Renfree decks as a way to have a banish. There's no other way to get banish in Renfree other than, well, like Squirrel, obviously, like banish on board, other than Squirrel. Squirrel banish at the graveyard, though. So this is the only way to banish on board with Renfree decks that I know of. Sometimes played there for that reason. I think it's all right. I think it's all right. Same thing for Golden Necker, by the way. If you want to banish a Golden Necker, you can play this. Dandelion Poet. Dandelion Poets, 1 second here. We've got to use the 5 power version, which is right here. Let me just fix it. All right, Dandelion Poet. Draw a card, play a card. Cycles your deck by 1. You pay a lot for that cycle, though. 11 provisions is quite a bit. Really only played in Nilfgaard Cultist to get 2 Cultists out in the same turn after infusing. For that reason, I'm just going to drop him in Niche. I think that's fair, because that's where that deck goes, and he's only played in that deck. He's not quite good enough to be played outside of it, but it's an interesting card. I think we'll leave him here. Vainglory. Just because it's a meme doesn't mean we have to hate it, guys. We love meme cards. Dandelion Vainglory. The epitome of meme. Destroy an enemy beast. Now, whenever you blast an Olaf with this thing or a Melusine, you feel really good. But that's never happened because I've never played this card. We will play it eventually. Now, the thing with Vainglory, there is the meme deck you can do, where you take Vainglory, you play Sove, you give the opponent your Melusine, after boosting it a whole bunch, which is a lot of setup to do this. It's very hard to do this. And then you pull it out of the deck, as Melusine has Veil on deploy now. Used to not be able to do this. And then you pull out the Melusine, and then you hit it with Vainglory, and boom. That's a lot, right? Because with Sove, we'll pull Sove up here. This is a funny combo. So you summon a beast from your deck to the opposite row and infuse it with Death Wish, boost enemy Sove by twice build base power rate. So you play your Melusine. You put the Melusine back in your deck with something like Decoy or whatever. There's a couple ways to do it. And then you Sove it to their board and hit with Vainglory. It's hilarious. That being said, this card's just a complete meme. It's just a meme. Decoy is a good card. Do I want to put Decoy in Excellent? Decoy is played in some meta decks. Decoy is played in meta decks. Do I want to be bold? Is that bold? I don't think it's bold. I think Decoy is really good. And I think I just didn't see it last year when I ranked it. I want to put it in good. Why is Decoy good? It has 3 decks where it's a very powerful card. The first and probably the most people have seen is Salamander. You can do Salamander Decoy combo where you play Golden Necker, you play Salamander because it plays the unit first, you decoy the Salamander back to your deck, and then it's the only unit in your deck, so you play it again with the decoy. Boom, that's 2 poison everything, and everything dies. So that's how you win with the Salamander Decoy. That's probably a classic example of Decoy. The other one where it's really good is in Elves, because you can shuffle back Simlos, or something else really strong deploy effect, and just get the next one. Kind of like Teliana, but cheaper. That's pretty good. And the one that's probably the strongest option for it is you shuffle back Radovid and get extra charges in Melidily. That's the most meta one recently. You play Radovid, you get its order, shuffle it back, and then you have 6 leader charges on your Melidily deck. And if you get the 6 leader charges, that's like typically too many to beat. Or you wait till you do your combo, and then you shuffle back the Traveling Priestess to get all 20 of its charges still. I think that's how that works. I think I saw that. Yeah, because you can necromancy back the priestess with a bunch of charges. Yeah, so that's how that works. I'm gonna put this in good. I'm gonna put it up here actually. I think it's excellent. I think it's super strong. This is just carried by the Lily priestess decks at the moment. Gregory. I do think I'm gonna rank this one rank above Aguara. I'm thinking putting it up here. Having access to lock in everything is just good. Monsters in particular, just they don't have an in-faction lock, so you have to play Deregere. It's also just really good for Renfrey decks that want to lock. So I think Deregere is good. Nah, it's going in the same tiers. It's going in this tier as well. No, it's here. I've made up my mind. It's here and this is here. There we go. I like that better. Let's leave this here to be controversial. Move it down at the end. Next, we have Dragon's Dream. It is just a meme card. It's 3 damage after 3 turns. 3 turns is so long the opponent will play around it. Yes, you can push their units into the row with the Dragon's Dream, but why would you be doing that? You should just play something else. It's a fun card though. It also is so low tempo the turn you play it. It's hard to be ahead and have time to play this without the opponent passing before it detonates. Kind of wants Golden Necker, but there's a lot of things that are better with that, so I think I'm putting this down here. I've tried a lot of Dragon Dream. Maybe it's bad instead of meme. Yeah, I'll put it here. I mean, if it was like cheaper, it might be okay. Doo-doo. All right, this card is not trash, but neither is it good. Transforming to the base into a base copy of a unit. So if we take a look here, he's a relic, after all, some use there, but base copy, here it is, of an enemy unit. Base copy. Bit hard to make work. Bit hard. Not useless, though. Has some potential. I think it's just a bit weak. Yeah, just a bit weak. Oh, Runewright and Runewright's buddy here. Boom. Where's Runewright? Where is Runewright? Rune Mage, Runewright. So, if you play them both together, you get a random legendary card. So you're getting 12 or 14 in a random legendary. Even if you get the random legendary, it's usually not that amazing. So the fact they have to be played together, these guys are pretty meme. The thing is, like, if they were both 7 power, I think they would have to be 7 power or 6 provisions, and probably 7 power. Because you want to commit to get the random legendary. Nah, these guys are memes. Memes. They were meme even when they came out. That's how bad that's been. Next up, we have Elf and Onion Soup. Actually, just a really good card now. It's amazing the difference of 5 and 4 provisions. Since 4 is the lowest you can be, it's a big difference there. It's basically infinitely better. Not exactly, but 4 version cards the cheapest you can be. You're going to have 4 version cards in your deck. Just making this one of them is really good. So, 2 main synergies here. Casino decks and the Druid decks. Druid's very good with this because they have 1 power tutors like Ermion and Avlok Sage, and then they have Crow Mother, which comes back when it dies. So you can get random golds with it. Really good there. You can replay it as well in that deck. And then Casino decks is our Casino card. So same deal there. I'm going to say this card's really good. Eltibald. I didn't grab him. Eltibald is okay. You infuse a unit with each time your opponent plays a card, take a damage. That's about 1 damage a turn, a little bit more. It's pretty nice. The problem with Eltibald, and he does cool down. It's a counter 3, cooldown 3, and it goes down each time you play a cursed card. The problem with that is there's not many cursed cards. Best spot for this guy is in monsters, because Sir Scratch-A-Lot replays itself every turn, and monsters with Sir Scratch-A-Lot is a deck that has some cursed cards that would play in it, like the plant thing that double thrives, the cursed damsel. Like, you can play cursed cards in there. It's a fine option. I just think the other options are typically better for that deck. I think it's better than these, though. Am I ranking these too highly? Oh, it's not right in this one. Maybe I'm ranking Cyprian too highly. Maybe this one as well. No, but you still see this. Maybe this one's a little too highly ranked. I'll leave it. I'll leave it. Eskil Pathfinder, my first premium legendary card in Gwent. Back when he was 1 point per turn. Gold engine, by the way. But yeah, destroy a unit if you have no units of the same category in your starting deck. Excellent in one faction decks. The main examples here, or in one tribe deck, I guess we could say, one tag, or in one faction deck. So the biggest example here, okay, mouse, let's not be weird. Biggest example here is going to be Witchers, right? He's a Witcher. If your deck's all Witchers, you can destroy anything that's not a Witcher. That's really good. Really, really good. It's just straight up destroy with no restrictions other than the categories. If you're playing a in-faction deck, something like Dryads or something like Ogroids that has only very few unit categories in it, then you can just say, oh, well, if I'm in a mirror match, the Eskil's dead, but most of the time he'll have big things to hit. The biggest thing for Eskil is you just don't want to have a human in your deck because human is the most popular unit type. But yeah, a very good card. Very good control card. We have Eskil, Vesemir, Lambert. Let's grab these three real quick here. The Witcher Trio, as we call them. They all have Adrenaline 4, I believe. Summon the other ones out of your deck. That's a 12-point play. It is pretty common to boost them up in the deck with things like All God, things like Offering, things like Vesemir Mentor, which we'll get to later. And just, it's a triple thin with good value, and this is a very strong thing to do. Going up here. And I suppose we'll put them in the right order to make their image work here. I could trigger it by saying it's the right order and putting it in the wrong order. That'd be funny. There we go. Go like that. Next up, we have Ethereal. I will give Ethereal an excellent 2. Ethereal's only played really in Fruits of Yizgith, because you can spawn the 1 power token every turn. But it is a 4-point a turn engine each time you click its order. That's very, very good. And it is a round-winning card if it's not answered. So I'm going to give it the excellent tier. It's also 10 for 8 if it is answered, which is really good also. I guess it's 9 for 8 because you have the 1 power token. But still, 9 for 8 with 4 a turn ceiling is an incredibly dangerous engine. Next up, we have Ike. Ike's not as good as he used to be. Like, you don't see Ike played in Dragon decks anymore. Just doesn't make the cut. So I think he's actually a weak card now. He's 3 for 8. He's got Order, destroy a unit with 9 or more power, and he gets Zeal if you're holding a dragon. Problem being there, you want to last say your Tall Punish, and if you're holding a dragon, you can't be last saying Ike because you have another card left. That means he really has to not be a last say and just Tall Punish earlier. And for that, he's a little expensive. Like, you don't really want to be doing that. And he basically never lives. You play him with 3 power, so I think he's weak right now. Fisher King's good, though. Stack a unit at the top of your deck. Actually, Fisher King's a card, I believe, not a unit. Gotta make sure we got that correct. Fisher King. I liked Fisher King's chapters in the books. Not his chapters, like Tower and such. Yeah, any card. Because you stack scenarios with him. I think he's just a solid card. There are decks that really benefit from this. Things like Caranthi or Koshé, because you need the Koshé in your hand. You can't tutor out of deck to use the Caranthi on it. Really good there. Also very good in Nilfgaard Hyperthin when you want to stack the Albrecht an extra time. I think it's just a solid card. Francis is okay. Francis Bedlam, Old King of Beggars, where King of Beggars got changed. Names got swapped around a couple cards. I think he's all right. He's 6 for 8. He boosts the lowest unit in your hand. And that's just not amazing. It's just not amazing. Lowest power unit, you just need value. Because it's not going to stack the boost on the same units, unless you only have one unit, which is unlikely. And usually the card you want to be boosting is your biggest unit, because it's going to be Torque. It's going to be your Aglace. It's going to be the finisher you want as big as possible. So you really just need value out of this, and the value is not really there, to be honest. But sometimes maybe you just want more hand buff. I don't think he's very good, though. I'm putting him down here. Next up, we have Free Company. This one's disappointing. So, Free Company, you play the top copy of a bonded unit from your deck. Free Company is really just supposed to go with the all-in bonded neutral deck, right? Yeah, choose a bonded unit, play its copy from your deck, cooldown 3. It's just bad. It's just bad. The all-in bandit deck with the bandit deck you're supposed to play this in with all the bondeds, it's also bad. But this card's just bad on its own. The order doesn't have Zeal, and it's a 6 for 9. It just dies, gets locked. Terrible. It's just not good. It's just bad. If the order goes off once, you tutor out a top copy of a bonded unit. It's just not good. It's a bad card. Garrison, though, Garrison's super good. So Garrison, well, this will top will cut off for sure as we get through this tier list. It's gonna get big. Garrison, you play a copy of a soldier from your deck. Very good uses here. Gives you an extra copy of Mahakam Volunteers and Dwarves with some flexibility because a lot of Dwarves are soldiers. And Nilfgaard, you can extra copies of things like Illusionist is really good. Just super flexible. And the order to boost a unit and all of its copies by 1 and give them 1 armor. Really good. Probably shines most in Reaver decks, as much as I don't like those, and I think I'm not in the minority there. But yeah, it's just a really strong card. The fact that the order has resilience is really nice too. And if you spawn a bunch of copies of a token, so Dwarves again, for example, if you just play Zoltan's Company and spawn 5 guys, this is a 5-point order with 5 armor. It's really good. Gascon, Iron Falcon. It's bad. It's not bad. It's in weak. The only use for Gascon Iron Falcon is to try and RNG a 3rd copy of Renfri's Gang and then high roll the opponent with it. It's much worse than just playing the gang. But whenever it works, you feel really good and it's funny. But it's not good. It's weak, though. He's too expensive is the problem because the neutral bandits aren't very good. And there's enough of them that you're not guaranteed or even close to guaranteed to see the gang. The nice thing, though, for you if you decide to do this, is we have to limit this to neutral, is you are playing a Rune Mage in these decks already. Usually. Sometimes they cut the Rune Mage for this, right? But like, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you're not likely to see the gang unless you use the Rune Mage. So, yeah, it's not good. Gascon is also not very good. So, I don't want to hate on Gascon in all his forms here, but how many of you guys remember what this guy does? Probably a decent number from his rework, but while in hand deck or battlefield, whenever you play a second copy of bonded unit, it boosts self by 3. You can't do this very effectively because it is second copy. You can't keep teleporting the same thing. You can't keep teleporting the same thing. It can't be mushy truffling extra copies of something, or slave driving more illusionists. It has to be the second copy. So you have to have a bunch of different bonded cards. And that means it's bad, because having a bunch of different bonded cards is bad. Gaunter. I like Gaunter, but that doesn't mean he's good. So I think he's got more potential than some of these other cards. Actually, you know what? Where are these two? You get down here, and you get down here. No. I can't do that to you, but that's where we're going. So Gaunter, Gaunter, deploy, give doomed, order, destroy a doomed unit. Has some synergies with things like, I can't show cards too often here, gonna be here forever. Things like Will-O-Wisp. Technically, he is a destroy and banish. He is technically a banish if they don't avail over 2 turns. This opponent has time to purify. They have other ways to interact. It's just not quite good enough because it usually doesn't go off. It's too expensive. He needs to both survive to use its order and the opponent not to interact with the doomed status, which is too much to ask. I probably have to put him down here. Geralt Ard. I like Geralt Ard. I think he's okay. Everything else is probably going to be better than this, which is kind of okay as about, but it is playable. It's 11 for 8. That's not too bad. And if you get 1 movement that is useful, it's a good card. 1 movement messes something up. That being said, it only moves things from melee to range, which is very awesome thematically. But there's a lot of range lock stuff you'd like to move melee, so that's the issue here. But yeah, I think it's a fine card. I think you don't usually play it. I think you're going to need some other synergies with it, but it's not terrible. It's alright. It's like usable. Axii. Axii was buffed as of like 3 days from me making it. 3 days ago of me making this, so I don't really have a good grasp where it is. I'm going to put it in okay. Now it goes up here. I'm going to put it in good. I'm going to go out on a limb and say it's probably good now in Witchers. I don't know for sure if that's true or not, but we're just going to go with it. Axii seizes an enemy with power equal to or lower the number of Witchers you control. So you can grab stuff pretty quick if you build up a bunch of tokens quickly, right? You like go armor up and then play Quartermaster. Boom, you've got 6 guys on board, and then you play this guy. You can see something pretty big. I think it's fine, especially if you Gwent it out of the deck or something. I think it's probably good now. I think it's probably good at 9. We'll see, though. Igni. Good card. Doesn't have the power it once did, with the initiative and all. And target removal is more popular right now. Things like Eskel, things like Heatwave, even in Renfree decks, things like Vilgefortz, things like Geralt regular form here are more popular than Igni, but Igni is still a threat. You have to keep Igni in mind. I think it's still a good card. Thinking of good cards, also a good card. Is regular old Geralt. It's fine. Eskel is typically played over Geralt in a lot of decks because of the threshold being annoying, but I still think Geralt's good. I still think Geralt is good. Geralt really just also has a home in Renfree decks, appropriately enough, I guess. I won't say anything else there. Don't make any inappropriate comments, guys. But Geralt's really good in Renfree because you have the no unit restriction. You're playing a lot of different categories often, or at least playing humans, which means that you don't get the benefit of the Eskel, and you want a tall punish often and tall removal, so Geralt fits pretty well there. Same thing with Igni. Usually use Geralt, though. Next up, we have Professional. Also a very good card. Geralt Professional has the upside of being a very good removal in Witcher decks. I do think Eskel's better, though. Eskel's better because you can have issues with Professional if they're two above well, I guess we'll pull it up real quick here. So he destroys things at increments of 3, right? So 3 units by 1, have Witcher gain Zeal. You really need the Witcher to gain Zeal. You can't really play them without the Witcher decks. But destroys damage unit by 3. If its power is a multiple of 3 instead, destroy it. So if it's 1 above a multiple of 3, you hit it with the ability here. If it's 2 above, you can't hit it with the ability, and you can't remove it. So that's a problem. And sometimes there's not enough units for you to avoid hitting it because you have to hit 3 things. Sometimes you have to hit yourself. Sometimes you have to hit the opponent's thing that's like 9, it goes to 8, and you can't kill it. So Eskel's better. I still think Geralt Professional is good, though, because you just play both. Quen is excellent. Play a Witcher from your deck. Really good synergies because it has Adrenaline, gives shield. So Bear Witcher, really good value. Finding your key cards, really good. Tutoring out your key Witchers, really good. Tutoring out your removal and your Geralts, really good. Really good. Not much else to say there. Also in Gold Necker range, so you can play Gold Necker with this. and Siri and stuff. It tutors Siri out. So a lot of uses. Uriden's now meme. Uriden has Adrenaline 2. It resets everything in a row. Then Adrenaline 2, it resets everything in an ally row instead. If instead of ally row it said 1 unit, it would be a good card. But that you have to reset your own row means there's essentially no use for this. Because you have to play a deck that doesn't care about resetting itself, because you could low roll this and have to reset like 100 points of your own boost. So you can't play a deck that boosts itself. And the opponent's deck has to boost itself a lot before the final turn. It is terrible in round 3. This card is atrocious. It's just fallen to meme. Which is hilarious. It used to be the best card in the game. I will argue this was the best card in the game before its rework to Adrenaline. And I don't think it was close. And now it's one of the worst cards. Germain. Germain's a really good card. Germain is a really good card. We're going to have to go back and adjust some of these at the end. But for now, we're just going to keep going. Spawns 4 guys, that's 9 for 9, and it gives you 4 bodies. A lot of things just want 4 bodies. Slave drivers, or slave infantries, I mean. But the big one is Military. Military decks love this. You just play this, click your leaders, Military boosts everything by 2, then everything by 3, boom, you won. Really good card. Really good card. Mostly from its synergies. Gimpy Gerwin is a meme. So, Gimpy Gerwin is completely meme. He was incredible before his rework years ago, but he got reworked, and now he is very not incredible. So 5 for 9 with 1 armor, he's easily removable. He needs to be 6 power to be remotely used. But whenever you play a card, you damage all enemy units of the same provision value by 1. It is cool. It's a cool effect. I always want Gimpy Gerwin decks to work. He's just too easy to remove. And the payoff's inconsistent. The best way to use this is with Magni Divisions, because you can keep spamming Magni Divisions and Slave Drivers and keep replaying 5 provision things. And 5 provision is probably the one that you see most of. I would say 5 provision is the most common provision for a card played in the game. So 5's the good value, and Magni Divisions can do it. It's just he's too easy to kill. He needs an extra power, and he's just bad. All right, here's one. I'm listening okay. I'm putting this in okay. I think Glorious Hunt is not a bad card. It has 2 things going for it. One is its base power. It destroys the highest base power unit. A lot of decks that would consider Curse of Corruption don't play it because they have their own things that boost pretty tall. Glorious Hunt doesn't care. And second, it's a tactic, so it's tutorable in Nilfgaard off of Menno. And Nilfgaard has a lot of low base power units. The issue with a Glorious Hunt is there's usually a better control option, like Vilgefortz or something. But if you're going to play a deck with Battle Stations and then 2 tactics, like Battle Stations War Council, consider running a Glorious Hunt. It actually works out pretty well in Nilfgaard. So I'm going to leave it in okay for that. Okay, guys, we have a tier. We have a tier we haven't discussed yet. The game-defining tier. This is going up there. There's no world in which I can put certain cards in the same tier as the rest here. There are some cards just kind of transcend the game and just don't just be good in decks. There are certain cards like Define Gwent at this point. I think Golden Necker is game-defining. I think it is that strong. Playing 3 cards at once, of which 1 is often a chosen card. The artifact is often a chosen card. So you play a unit, the top unit, artifact, and special from your deck. And in that order. The artifact, you'll play 1 artifact, so you always get the same artifact for the most part. This opens up some of the craziest combos in the game. We've already mentioned Salamander. That's more of a meme one. You also have doing this into Necromancer's Tome and Monsters, with the special then playing a unit to immediately trigger the Tome. Phenomenal combo. You have stuff in Skellige. Skellige loves Golden Necker as well. Some phenomenal decks there with Alula, Queen's Guards, and stuff. Just playing 3 cards at once kind of breaks the rules of the game, though. And that's what Golden Necker does. It's just that strong. You could do so much with this card. It is so fun. in my opinion, to make all these different Golden Necker decks. That being said, it can't. I understand people hate playing against this. I understand why, but I think it opens up so much deck building variety that it's like good to have this in the game. But yeah, it's fun to make all these different decks. That might just be a content creator perspective, but this card is so powerful. I think it needs its own tier up here with a few other cards we will get to, and I'm sure you can already guess what's going up there. Next up, we have our mountain reference. 4 with 1 damage deploy. And he comes with a shield. I think he comes with a shield, or is it part of the death blow? I think it comes with a shield. Then death blow gain 8. Oh, no, the shield's part of death blow. So it is 12 for 9. Not great value. Death blow 1 is kind of hard to set up sometimes, and people are very aware of it because of Kedweni Revenants. I think it's weak. And it probably realistically is bad. I want to see this guy be playable, though. He was very common for a while before he got to like power crept and such. But yeah, he really just needs to be cheaper. Cheaper or more power, just not quite on the curve there. Hengate Sword is a good card. Hard to... It's not that it's hard to find decks to fit in. Just most decks choose not to. But it's actually a good card. 5 damage with Banish is quite useful. And then if you Echo, you play it again, you get the card you stored inside the soul. You used to be able to shuffle this back in and store multiple souls. You can't do that anymore. It just keeps the first soul if you shuffle it back in. But it is a very cool card. You can get some insane combos with killing certain cards with this. The problem is you have to play the Echoed form. Some Echoed cards, you don't care if you play the Echoed or not. Like, say, Amphibious Assault. If you don't draw till round 3, you're kind of okay with that. Same with Oneiromancy. Same with Erendite, right? If you get Erendite round 3, you didn't get the round 2 one. It's fine. It's still big. You have to use the Echo on Hengate Sword. Otherwise, it's terrible. So I think for that reason, I will say it's, I think, a good card, but I think it's a little underutilized. Adarin. It's niche. Adarin just makes extra copies of random garbage in spam decks. It's not really random garbage. It's all just spamming engines. I think that's a niche thing. Those decks typically aren't the best. Those decks are very meta-dependent because they have to go up against non-control. But I'll put them there. The Horrorquax is a very good card. Do I put it in this top tier? It does win games. Not in a fun way, though. Let's see. No, I think I'll put him good. So Horrorquax pulls the most expensive card from both decks. You never use the least expensive card effect. It may as well not exist, the ranged effect. But there's 2 main uses. 2 main cards, I should say, use it on. It's the same use. You pull out a big card from your deck that doesn't have Deploy and has some good effect, and you try and brick the opponent's finisher or most impactful card. So, like, you play this, and the 2 cards are usually either pull out Dana or Quirixis in Harmony, because the Dana has a bunch of hand buff carryover, and Quirixis would trigger from the Horrorquax because it summons out. The deploy goes off, it puts the Quirixis on board. Quirixis then sees the Horrorquax is played and triggers the convergence right away. That's how that works. That's why it's good there. And the other one is She Who Knows in Monsters, where you pull the She Who Knows out because it's really big and has carryover and try and brick the opponent. And then you try and like brick their Rend for either sim loss, their big play, and then they might leave the game. But it's a good card. We have Iris. His companions are pretty good. Along with Iris. Let's see. Iris goes in a higher tier than companions, actually. I think I want to do it this way. I think they're actually separated by quite a bit now. So companions draws you a card of your choice, then you discard a random card. Unless Iris is in your hand, in which case you discard her. So you really have to get them both together. Or at least have this and then get the Iris, because discarding a random card is too risky. And the reason why this has fallen off so much is because throughout the Balance Council, there's been a big push to make consistency cheaper. And you can now just have enough consistency, you don't need this, like in most decks. Whereas Iris has the effect of when it's in the graveyard, at the end of your turn, you banish it, and then boost all of your units in deck by 1. If you boost 14 units in your deck, that's 14 points of carryover. And this is most commonly used in Renfrey, where everything's a unit. And the best thing to do with this is you just send her, off of something like Darren, where you just send it out of deck, or you discard it from hand with like Coral or something, and then she just goes off. So she's excellent, gives you a whole bunch of value in those decks. Companion's kind of fallen off though. I think you can play them with Iris. It's just better not to most of the time. And Iris Shade is a ooh. So she removes armor, then boosts herself by the amount of armor removed. It used to be played in combos with Draco Turtle. There's just better things to do with Draco Turtle though. I think she's bad. I think she isn't useless. I think she needs to have some adjustments though. She's like she needs to be either cheaper, so you can just kind of play her and remove 3 or 4 armor from random cards that have armor, or she needs to have more base power. Ivo is very good. I'm put Ivo in excellent. Ivo's a finisher for a couple decks, right? You've got the best and probably most common one is the Nilfgaard Tactics, where you're spamming Magni Divisions, Nausicaa Sergeants, Slave Drivers, Battle Stations, all playing more and more cards. You play like a 30 plus point Ivo. You can also just go all meme and just spam what's it called? Recruit. And just keep clicking Recruit's order every turn as well to get like 40, 50 point Ivos. It can be fun. But yeah, the other deck is the Sahil decks. Like Sahil plays a card each time you play Sahil, so I think it's an excellent finisher for a couple different decks. Johnny and Sarah will rank together. They're very similar. They're both relics. They both get 2 value when you play a special. And that's just kind of okay. They kind of go in the Alzur deck. They are not as good as Alzur. Johnny's a bit better because 2 random damage when playing a special will often just let you kill something the special couldn't. But I will put them in the same tier, and I will put them in the same tier as Alzur because they kind of go in the Alzur deck. No, we'll put them down here. We'll go down here. They're okay. When we make this, by the way, there's so many cards. Keep in mind, a lot of things are going to be close to the border of a tier. So I'm not ranking them within the tier. But like this might be like right on the edge of being between good and okay. I think by ranking, though, these do go up here. Knickers. Yeah, this is a fantastic card. Randomly comes out of your deck. I believe, I don't know this for a fact. I'm repeating what I've been told, but I trust you guys in the comments to tell me the truth. And I've been told that Knickers has a 10% chance to come out for each card out in your hand missing. So on turn 1, you play 1 card, he has a 10% chance to come out. And then on turn 8, when you have 2 cards in hand, well, not necessarily turn, for the number of cards in your hand that are missing. That's what I've been told. So if you only have 2 cards in hand, 80% chance. And obviously, how math works is it's not 80% if you went from turn 1 to 8. It's 10 times 20 times, like, real math to get the math that way. I guess it'd be the reverse of that, like 80 times 90, whatever. You get what I'm saying. It's not necessarily that, but he comes out of your deck. He comes out of your deck, thin's your deck. That's really good. He's a beast. Good beast synergies. Good run free. Really good card. And while I'm talking about him, I'm putting Roach next to him because I just wanted to do them together because they are extremely similar. Roach thins himself out of your deck when you play gold. It's more consistent than Knickers. He has 1 more value. He has 1 more provision as well. And they're both excellent. Both excellent. Okay. I will not be putting Heatwave in game defining, by the way. I think Heatwave's just an excellent card. This hasn't been changed in all the balance councils, and that should tell you something about it. It is an excellent card that is well balanced. It is a tall punish, removal, the most common way you can remove an artifact, but it costs 10 provisions. That's pretty expensive. It's non-devotion. It doesn't have any keyword to tutor it out. You have to play like an Oneiromancy to tutor it. But it keeps a lot of stuff in check, so it's like just a good card for the game. Lady Lake is excellent as well. Finding your Echo cards is really important for specific decks. Commonly, you play this with Erendite plus an Oneiromancy, or you play this with Erendite plus an in-faction Echo, like Amphibious Assault, or even, as for Nilfgaard or Northern Realms Knights, all 3. Really good. Find your Echo cards, very strong. Lambert Swordmaster, 1 second, I'll turn a light on. Recording this for so long, it's getting dark, but Lambert Swordmaster is just not good. I don't know what else to say, it's just not good. It damages things of the same name by 2. The only thing that can kill is Arrakis drone tokens, and 1 damage kills those anyway. There's no spot for him. He's only good in metas where Tatterwing is the dominant deck. And when it is the dominant deck, I have still not been tempted to play him. Well, I have been tempted for content reasons, but not competitive reasons. 1,000 Fables is 9 provisions, so let's just fix it. All right, we've grabbed the correct 1,000 Fables there. 9 provisions, plays a special out of your deck. Kind of like we saw with Arcane Tome, it finds your Golden Necker most of the time. It could find your Sihil. Then it has the Resilience Order to transform a special in your hand to a unit from the same faction, the same provision cost. Mainly just used to transform Mastercrafted Sihil once you've used it up, but you can use it to transform other cards if you really want to. But mainly it's just find Golden Necker with this, because you don't want to give the opponent tutoring with Arcane Tome, or you transform Mastercrafted Sihil. I think it goes in the same tier as Arcane Tome. I think it's a good card. Leo. Leo's pretty good. Leo's pretty good as a wide payoff to Witchers. I don't think it's the best Witcher payoff, because often you don't really want to go tall, because nothing else really goes tall in the Witcher deck. So if they have a tall punish or reset, they have it for Leo. But he can be pretty big. Be a big tempo play after your Berengar or something. And I think it's just solid. I do think Berengar's better. I think it's the one you cut most often, but I don't want to put it in the lower tier here. I think Leo's still pretty solid. Madoc. Excellent card. When you play a bomb, he thins himself out of your deck, and then he adds 3 Cataclysm damage to each bomb, effectively, is what he's doing. And that's really good. That's just really good. We're trying to speed this up a little bit here, because I realized how long this video has taken, how many cards are left, so we're trying to go a little faster. Sorry about that. But yeah, Madoc's really good. Thins himself out's nice. The only problem with Madoc that you run into, other than him being banished, but I mean, that's true of a lot of cards, but if you play Sapper to play a bomb and then draw a card, if you draw into them a Madoc, the deploy goes off before anything else, right? So you play the bomb, and then you draw a card. It's part of the deploy effect. If you do that, you can draw the Madoc, and he won't summon himself out. But other than that, it's really good. Mandrake. Mandrake's weird. Fully resets a unit. That means like it gets its order back. That means it goes back to its base stats. It just, as if you just put the card out of the deck editor back on board. So you can use reorder things like this. It's really strange. And I've never found a good use for it, but I think a good use for it must exist. I think it's weak though. I think at 5 provisions, maybe. But it's so specific, it just doesn't get used. It's so strange. I kind of want to see this tried at 5. We'll see. Manticore Venom. Damage 3 units by 3. This is really terrible. They don't have to be adjacent though, which is interesting. Yeah, they don't have to be adjacent, unlike the other Venom. But it's just really bad. It doesn't kill stuff at 3, and the value is too low, so it's really bad. Morale, though, is a very good card. Obviously teched mainly for poisons, and mainly in Syndicate. Golden Necker poison is specifically Golden Necker decks. You can use Madoc for extra poisons. You can also play him in other poison-heavy decks. Status Aristocrats and Harmony can play him pretty well. Squirtel with poisons. It's a good card. The thing that makes Morale so nice is you deploy him, get about a poison, and the opponent can either purify the poison, in which case you have order poison and play another card from hand with poison, which still kills the card, or they can get rid of the Morale, in which case you can still play another poison from hand and kill the thing he poisoned. So typically playing Morale means the thing you put his deploy on will die, which is really good. But he is also like, if he's only deploying poison, it's not the best value, but the fact that he guarantees you can kill the thing with the poison is what makes him nice. Marching Orders. Tactic deploys the lowest power unit from your deck. I have only ever seen this played to play Menno to get battle stations. I've only seen that once. This card is pretty bad. Yeah, it's bad. Spoon Lady. Spoon Lady. What is your actual name? 1 second here. Just start calling things by their real name. I think it starts with an M. Yeah, Marlene. Marlene. Doomed, order if not doomed, gain resilience. 6 points of resilience is good. The fact you have to use a Purify on her is not good. Yeah. She's just kind of not great, to be honest. Yeah, she's just not great. There's better ways to get resilience. I think if she or Caretaker were buffed, she could be used. Yeah, she's probably just too expensive. Okay, guys. Theme-wise, lore-wise, fun-wise, Master Mirror goes up here. Gameplay-wise, I apologize, Mr. Master Mirror, but you're in the okay tier. You're actually not a meme card. For real, though. Actually not a meme card. Some decks can use you. Casino comes to mind. Renfree comes to mind. We have a bunch of random 4-person stuff you transform. Not the best. And I'm being a little generous here, but I think Master Mirror is okay. If you have a very upper end oriented deck that has specific lower end cards, maybe something like Dragons, where you have a whole bunch of 4s that just do damage, and sometimes you need those to be units, you can Master Mirror. At 7 power is the big deal, right? At 7 power, very hard to get rid of Master Mirror, especially with Veil. So he usually gets his effect off a couple times now, which I think makes him okay. Meta. I think Meta's excellent. Draw your most expensive card. Your opponent draws their least expensive card. Yes, you both draw. And obviously you can't do if they've passed or their hand's full. But you can mill opponents with this, which is the less common use. If their hand is full, they don't get a card. Yeah. Your most expensive card is often your best card. And the opponent's least expensive card is not that good. So despite you both getting a card, it's better for you. And there's a specific card up here, Golden Necker, that she will draw because she's 9 provisions. This will be the most expensive card in your deck. And that's really good. She can draw Renfree. That's really good. And just finding your best card is really good. And she finds your best card in 2 decks that can struggle to find their best card, which makes her really good, I think. Maxi, I think, also goes up in this top tier. Maxi's very good. Being able to find your best cards, as we said, is really important. You can also bottom stack your deck, which is really good for decks like Spotters. It's really good for decks that want to set up a Golden Necker by putting a certain card in the bottom, or things you don't want to draw, things like Anglerfish. A lot of uses for Maxi, and you can shuffle your deck if it's not going to be good, and if it is going to be good, you can keep it. I think she's an excellent card. And she's only 5 provisions. 5 provisions for consistency cards, really great. Hailstorm's a meme. 2 damage to 5 units. They have to have 5 units. 2 damage is nothing. And the chance that one of the units, at least one is armor or something's pretty high. Yeah, no, this card's terrible. Sorry, Marigold's Hailstorm. Yennefer's Invocation has you way beat. Mushy Truffle is excellent. Extra copy of your bonded units. The cards you most want more copies of are typically the bonded ones, because it gets you their enhanced effect more times, which is really good. And as carryover in the form of the Golden Froth, which has synergies with many other carryover cards, like Ale the Ancestors has synergies with this. It has great synergies with Druids, works really well with Shoop and carryover based decks in Nilfgaard. I think this card's really good. It's really good. Musicians, this is a top tier card too. You're seeing a theme here, guys, of consistency. Consistency in neutral is amazing because it fixes your lack of consistency. And Musicians of Blaviken, consistency at round 0, you pull this guy out of your deck if you have no 4s. Yes, it's pretty deck building limited, but it's phenomenal in decks that want it. Stuff like Stockpile, like Siege likes this card. Some Skellige decks like this card. It's really good. Yes, it's only 2 points that comes out of your deck at the start of the game. That is really good if you're trying to make your deck thin to like 0 cards or something. Kill Compass, for example. Compass decks love this thing. I think it's really good. You're gonna hear that a lot here. Merkit de Braque. Also, where's the dragons? Merkit de Braque, Akvist, and Blaze. Oh, we did Blaze. Yeah, we did the correct Blaze. We'll fix that one later, as in a couple seconds. And then we're missing, where is it? We should have ranked all the dragons together. Well, actually, we don't really have to. 1 second. We'll fix the synthesis here. All right, that's fixed. And then we need the last dragon. There's Bill Trettenmerth. Okay. So we'll just rank these guys together. I think Blaze can be ranked on her own because she goes in decks these other ones don't sometimes, like bombs. But as far as the other ones, Mercatip Brake finds your dragons. Find your dragon you want to find. Then it's going to have a bunch of 1 damage orders, which works really well with your other dragons, like Village Trettenmerth. How would I rank the dragon package? I think I'm just going to go like this. I think I'm going like that. I think they're all better than Synthesis. Blaze. They're just so much value. All right, because they have lineage. I guess I don't really want to rank them together. I don't think I will. I think I like this better. I think these are objectively the better dragons. Villain Trettenmerth combined with Order on Mercatip Brake just lets you just blow up boards if the opponent can't deal with it. They have to kill Villain Trettenmerth most of the time. And if you have lineage, this guy's a 10 or 11, which is just good value to deal with as well. Archivist Deploy gives Cataclysm to both rows. That's a lot of value. And then the 1 damage to all your opponent's units. Archivist's value is just really high. Just a lot of value. Or not both rows get Cataclysm. The 1 row gets Cataclysm for 2 turns, I should say. And then Mercatip Brake just finds your dragons and it's got like 4, 5, 6 damage, 1 damage pings, plus it's got the lineage. They're just really high value upper end cards that kind of make the dragon decks, and the dragon decks are good. So I think I'm putting them up here. I think they're very strong. And I don't like this one as much, so it's staying down here. This might be biased. Lamp Djinn is okay. Lamp Djinn has 2 uses. One is as a 5 provision artifact in your Golden Necker deck because you don't want to play any of the other artifacts. And the other one is you're trying to combo with Adastriga because the Lamp Djinn token and Thing from the Box token you can consume. Specifically, the Thing from the Box token, your opponent will get it. They will always get it if they click the ability and you click a 4. Because they'll either get it by having a higher one or you both get it when you tie. And then you just consume it with the Adastriga. It's hilarious. Love that combo. It's super fun. But I think those are the main uses for it. I don't think it's amazing, but I'm leaving it here. Necromancy is a good card. Do I want to put Necromancy in top tier? Main uses for Necromancy are to bring back relics in the relic deck and make extra copies of things like Reavers in that deck. It is very impactful for that. I think I'll leave it in good though. I think good is where I'd put it. Nivellen is a bit weak. The problem for Nivellen is that there's no payoff. Like the good road punish cards, the good ones either are cheap and do a bunch of damage or have a good floor, or they just completely demolish the row, or they move and damage at the same time. So think of stuff like Mill the Sharpshooter, moves and damages at the same time. Think of Kraken, moves and damages at the same time, demolishes the row. Stuff like that. I don't think Nivellen makes the cut there. It's too weak still, unfortunately. He's almost there. Like, he's not really almost there, but yeah, not quite. Olgierd Immortal. Okay. He's fallen off quite a bit. And it's through no fault of his own. Surprisingly enough. What Olgierd Immortal fell off from is just nerfs to self-wounds other cards. It just ends up that you cut Olgierd Immortal before you cut stuff like Draco Turtle. He just gets cut first. And that doesn't mean he's a bad card. He's still good in self-wound with Knut the Callous. You just keep doing 5 damage with him. Your small blood can't hurt him. It's just that deck's taking a lot of provision hits, and you just cut this guy first. I still think he's a good card, though. I still think he's good. But I'm putting him in okay just because you can't afford him. Other Olgierd. This one's not okay. I've used this one quite a bit. Basically, this card needs to be 1 power higher, so that Knut the Callous rounds up to 5. Then maybe we're talking. But as it is, this is better. This is already not played. This is never played other than we've played it. I haven't made fun of for playing this. All I know is that I made a deck, Golden Necker Self Wound, Skellige. Made a bunch of those actually. I know it's one of them. In one of them, I was playing this, and I played against, I think it was Lirio. And then after I was done, I went to check out the stream, and I was making fun of me for playing this card. Understandable. Understandable. But still. I had 8 provisions, I couldn't fit this, so I just put this. But this should be 9. This needs to be 9 power, so you can round up with Knut the Callous. Alright, next up we have... Ooh, actually, this card's quite good. This card's actually pretty darn good. And I realized, based on its placement on here, I must have its name wrong. Oops, that's not it. Oh, it's One-Eyed Betsy. I am mostly right. Okay. Yeah. So drop the 2 bonded units and shuffle standard cards back into your deck and order replay bonded. Order replay bonded is so much better than free company because if you have both bondeds out, and since she can draw 2 bonded cards, you're going to probably have 2 bonded cards out. The bonded effects are typically from deploy, where they get their bonus, and she can get that bonus again. So I think that makes her pretty good. She's a good card. Very good in things like Renfrey, where you want to get your Caravan Vanguard to thin out your deck. Then you can replay the Vanguard for extra points after. Pretty good. I think she's really good. I don't think she quite makes it into the top tier, but I think she is very strong. Do I really think these cards are better than Geralt, by the way? We'll have to come back and revisit that. I actually kind of think they do. I think they are, actually. Next up, we have Oneiromancy. Okay. Play anything you want. This sounds good, because it is good. Phenomenal tutor. Do it twice, even better. Card's amazing. Card is amazing. Operator is good. You play Operator in decks that have very dangerous engines with extra copies of. Main thing you're duplicating here is like Flutter, Messenger of the Sea, that type of stuff. It's really good for that. Self-Eaters as well. It's really good at doing that. You do pay a bit because it's low tempo to do it, but just getting extra copies is good, and I think it is good. You don't always do it in those decks, but it is an option. I think that makes it a good card. Ornate Censor. How the mighty have fallen, and thank goodness this thing fell from its old form. I gotta say that much. It's a meme now, though. Boost the unit by the amount of damage you did this turn, or damage you by the amount of boost you did this turn. Too hard to set up. It's just too hard to set up. I think that used to be Hubert's effect, where he was reworked, actually. Next we have Phoenix. I think Phoenix is pretty decent. It is primarily just used in Nilfgaard bomb decks as an extra carryover to carry over with your Madocs, the Letho Kingslayer second Madoc, first Madoc in this. But that's a good use for it. I think it's a good card because of that. Very specific, but probably good. Portal, top tier. Let's throw Portal up here. Get that third row of excellent going. Yeah, Portal's amazing. Thins your deck by 2. Portal should be 11. No, it's still 10. It hasn't been nerfed yet. I know people talked about nerfing it, but yeah, it's still 10. Okay, good. I know people talk about nerfing this thing, but it thins your deck out by 4 Persian cards. The 4 Persian cards are the ones you want to thin out because you don't really want to play them later. There are cards with deploys or just high base power, things like Fiends, things like Griffin, or not Griffin, Bear Witcher students, not the student, the adept, the little one, the damage itself one. And then any deck that has 4 Persian cards and wants to thin out, you can do this in Bounty as well. Thin out Tax Collector, like one Tax Collector, or then like 2 of the 4s, the Vigilantes, that's pretty good. Just so many decks want to play this and thin out their 4s, so it's good tempo, it's good value, good thinning. Really great card. Prince Willem, niche, because the only thing you ever play Prince Willem for is to play an extra copy of V. And yeah, that's all it is. It's just an extra V. The meme where, what are you? I'm just blah, blah, blah. That's Prince Willem. He's another copy of V. Prize-winning cow. I legitimately played this card before, but this needs to be 4. It needs to be 4 Persians. Then it would legitimately have a spot in the game and be played in Renfrey Beasts and played in Beasts. I think that would be cool to see this card have a spot, but it is a meme right now. I know it would be played in those because they play like one copy of King Cobra sometimes for Corrupted Flaminico. Next up we have, alrighty, Radea. Excellent card. And we'll grab Shoop's Day Off at the same time. So, Radea creates your starting artifact or an artifact of your choice. You don't see every artifact, though, I don't believe, but you see create sees the 5. But usually you create your own, because your own, typically, you're going to play this in Skellige or Nilfgaard, the most common Shoop factions, and their in-faction artifacts are really good. The Mask, we should do an artifact, or not a stratagem tier list at some point. Stratagems, not artifacts, I mean, from this. But yeah, those two are really good. The Collar and the Mask are really good. And then you can make the range, try and make a curse scroll, find your cards. She is really good. Shoop's Day Off, though, will find itself in this tier up here. Shoop's Day Off is kind of just do whatever the heck you want. Whatever you need, Shoop's Day Off kind of does it. This card is like the definition of a card that should be a meme, but is just so good. It's just so good. There's a couple reasons why. And one is if you're going second, you can just destroy your opponent with this. Like move a random unit to the opposite row, or the 13 damage. Because it's a deploy, it would go off of Fort C Shoop being on the board. So if they have one unit, you just take it with Mage. Or you just destroy 13 damage amongst their stuff with Mage. That's really good. Then you have the other big reason, there's a few, destroy an artifact. That's incredible. Heatwave is amazing for dealing with artifacts, but does it minus tempo. Because they play the artifact, they usually some deploy effect. Think of like a scenario. They get like a guy. You play Shoop, take it out, and you get 6 points on board. That's phenomenal. Then you have classic here. Just get Resilience on a 10-point card. 10 points of Resilience is good. I think Shoop deserves to be up here. Ragnarug is good. I think it's actually a pretty solid scenario. At 12 provisions, it's not that expensive. 2 turns of Cataclysm is 12 damage. And then the 5 damage when you play a gold unit, it's fine. And then you have the row boost from the clear weather, whatever. Clear skies, I should say. It's pretty solid. Actually, it's a pretty good scenario. It's legitimately a good scenario. Just kind of overshadowed. But if your deck needs a win condition, like for a specific round, you can actually just put in Ragnarug, and it's pretty good. Regis, Bloodlust, 17 for 11. Only played to Mill at this point. In Mill's a meme deck / niche deck. I'm going to put this in niche. You can also create this now by transforming your Mastercrafted Sahil with Land of Thousand Fables. And the other way you get this is you play Renfree Compass, because Renfree makes your leader neutral. Then Compass can make anything from the neutral list. And oftentimes you're like, well, Regis is the biggest unit. I'll make a Regis. So, but those aren't playing the card in your deck. So the only deck that plays this is Mill. So it's going to go in niche for that, because that's a niche deck. You used to be able to transform this into a, well, you still can. You can play this, transform it into Cursed Knight as well, Northern Realms. The Necromancy back a 17 power Cursed Knight. It's kind of funny too. Wait, I don't actually think that Regis here, Drain Regis, is bad. It's okay. I think this card's okay. Legitimately, I think this card's okay. The problem is you don't see it very often because it's overshadowed. Higher Vampire here. So drain an enemy by the amount of boost it has. This card's actually has, again, two uses. Again, sometimes, fairly often, this is the best that you can make in Renfree Compass. That deck's funny, by the way. If you haven't tried it, give it a shot. If you don't like Renfree decks, maybe you like that one. But yeah, you make this second to last, and you're like, hey, I know they don't have a control card, because I know they have like Gord or something. You're like, well, I'll just play this and steal all the points on it, and they forfeit and leave. That's funny. But the real thing here is Nilfgaard with Tusanto Hospitality. You can just boost their guys big and then drain them with Regis. It's just typically the other payoffs are better, right? Evar Evil Eye is a deploy. As a Dreadland, though, so you can't do the last say. You've got the Beauclair Order. But you can do the Petrie's filter on this, and it's pretty good. It's not as good. Another Regis here. Deal 1 damage to everything on a row, and then if something dies, repeat it, and this can keep going. Just a bit weak, I'd say. Just a bit weak. You can set it up to completely destroy rows, but Kraken's better at that. I mean, they kind of go together, but Kraken's better at that. And it's like 3 power, 11. You really have to commit to getting at least 3, I would say, effects of this off for it to be good. And that's a lot to ask, especially when it's initiative. So I'm going to put it in weak. Renew. Niche. Renew is a niche card. I think I want to adjust this. The main renew targets in the game are Colgrim is the big one. Bring back Colgrim for your clog decks. Bring back Salamander. Salamander renew. You bring back Vanadane for all-in Waylay combos. Are the big ones I can think of. I think it's a niche card for that. It brings those guys back. Okay, here we go. Let's just do it. I think Renfrey is the most game-defining card in the entire game. Renfrey has changed Gwent more than any other card. I'm pretty sure that's true. The other argument would probably be Oneiromancy for consistency for the most changing card. But I think it's Renfrey. Renfrey is also the most nerfed card in the history of Gwent, I would say. Well, she originally? She was 7 power, 13 provisions, no doomed, and some of her effects are better. Some are a couple worse too. But yeah, she's lost 6 power and 2 provisions. Oh boy. And she's lost zooms, you couldn't just replay her infinitely. Speaking of the changes, Renfrey, the month Renfrey came out, I tracked my games. 250 games. I believe 70% of them were against Renfrey. That's how meta she was. Like, if you were playing Renfrey, if you were not playing Renfrey, I should say, you saw Renfrey 70% of your games. It was crazy. Now she's a lot more toned down. Now she's a lot more balanced. She's still incredible. And she has one of the best effects in the game, which is carryover. You play Renfrey and you carry over your new leader. That's where Renfrey dominates. As you just shove your leader early to try and win tempo advantage, and then in round 2 or something, you just drop the Renfrey, carry over the new leader, and you just have that for round 3. Yes, you have to play all units. You have to play around with that, but I think her ability is so strong that I think she just goes up here. If you've played the game at all and are watching this tier list, you know what Renfrey does, and you probably know where to put her. I know people don't like her, like me. Ring of Favor, actually pretty decent. Usually pretty decent. I would put this in the okay tier. Not played that commonly, but this is one of those cards where you're playing a deck. This card's been nerfed a while ago. But this is one of those cards where you're playing a deck that you say, this deck has to win round 1 to execute its win condition. Consider Ring of Favor. That's its spot in the game. So things like Mill, for example, is one that comes to mind. But anything like that where you just need round 1. Because it starts in your hand, so you always have it at the beginning of the game. Boost an ally by 3, at the end of your turn increase the boost. So near the end of the round, you place like 17 points of boost or something, 19 points of boost. And then you just play this. There is a way, by the way, yeah, it goes, when move to deck, it banishes itself. When your opponent passes, you banish itself and draw a card. Be a little careful about that, because if they're pretty far ahead and they pass before you play this, you can get destroyed, but you got to know that. Typically, the opponent will know your deck has to win round 1 and won't pass, so this isn't that big a deal. Like, say you're playing Mill, they're never passing. So that's not that big a deal here. So yeah, it's pretty good. I would say it's actually a good card. But I think it's too specific to be in this tier. I think it goes here. I think it's pretty decent. Not good. Rockslide is in the wrong category. You're a bronze. Get down here somewhere. Royal Decree. Excellent card. Tutors a unit. In some ways, it's better than Oneiromancy because it is 9 provisions. That's cheaper if you just want to tutor one thing. Fits in Golden Necker, which really helps it stand out there is a tactic, so some synergies there. And overall, phenomenal tutor card. Rune Mage, also a really good card. I'm putting up here also. Rune Mage lets you see more choices from your creates. The big ones that benefit from this are Shoop. You have to play this with Shoop. You don't play Shoop without this, because you need to have access to all those choices. If you play Rune Mage, you can pick from all the Shoop options. If you don't, you only see 3 of the 5. So you have to play it there. Really good with Rent-Free. Also quite good with Bountiful Harvest, decks that want to spam create like that. And overall, it's just a pretty good card. Like, you play it, you get a Rune Stone. It's usually going to let you try and find like a lock or removal or something. Also works really well with Triss and Otkel decks. So, really good. Really empowers some of the strongest cards in the game. Sayer Khan is good. If you're playing a token-based swarmy deck, Sayer Khan's pretty good. Things like Firesworn, things like Tatterwing, even non-Tatterwing Arrakis Swarm as well. Dwarves as well sometimes will play this guy. It just does 1 damage for each unit you control. That ends up being a lot of damage if you have a lot of tokens, and he's only 8 provisions, so you have a lot of damage for pretty cheap, which is good. Sangreal is also a good card. There's a lot more good cards in neutral than I thought there were. That's nice. That is nice. So Sangreal boosts by 12. When both players pass, you lose 12. But it's an infusion, and it purifies the unit you put it on. The 2 main combos with the Sangreal here, I guess we'll say 3. The best combo is you play False Siri to your opponent's board, and then it gets like a Boo Hurt from your graveyard. Then you hit it with a Sangreal. They can't lock the False Siri effect because the Sangreal will purify the lock. Then False Siri sees, oh look, I'm 15 now, and comes back to your board, which means that you get all 12 points of the Sangreal. The other big ones are you play this on Griffin Witcher after it locks itself because it will purify the lock off. The Griffin Witcher will do 3 damage again. Then the Griffin Witcher will lock the infused effect, so you don't take 12 damage. So you get the full value there, and then 3 extra, so you get 15 there. And then if the opponent can't purify the infused effect, or the lock off, because they'd also purify off the infused. And then the last one is you in Shield Wall, you put it on something, put the Shield Wall Leader Charge on it. So just good value card. Often ends up being really abusive power amount of points. Scepter of Storms, good card also. This one's a bit, feels a bit weird to put up this high. But Scepter of Storms really shines with Golden Necker that plays this as its artifact. You can also play it with Vadermaker and All-in Rain combos, or All-in Frost combos for Gigantic Ancient Foglets, the non-devotion Frost kind of meme deck. But I think this card's actually just good because it goes well with Golden Necker Frost, which is not very good, but more so Golden Necker Skellige with Beasts. I think that's where it really shines. Yeah, Golden Necker Beasts, like especially with tiers like Bearmaster getting buffed recently, there's been a big upsurge in the amount of people playing that type of deck, and it's gotten a lot better. And just as an artifact that gives rain, it works really well in Golden Necker Rain. And the deck's just better now, so I think it's a good card. Scorch is also a good card still. You don't see it that commonly, but you do still see it like every month a couple times. I think it's a very strong effect. Also, one of the more intimidating artworks we've got here. It really stands out art-wise. But I will say, reminds me of Terminator 3, I think it is. But anyway, really good effect. Destroy all the highest units. Yeah, you can get yourself with this. I've seen it happen. It has initiative, so you do need to play it first, or else you're only destroying the 1 highest unit. Often that's enough, though. But really goes well with Precision Strike. You set this up, you go, boom, everything's dead. If the opponent doesn't play around this, you're going to get like 50 points of removal sometimes. I think it's a very good card, but it is a bit hard to work with, so I'm going to leave it down here in the good tier, but I think it's still good. Where would I rank this? The Selective Mutation? I think it is. We're just going to go with it. So you get the 2 Witcher tokens, draw an Adrenaline card. Really great for Witcher decks. The extra consistency and the extra tokens actually matter quite a bit too, because both of the good Witcher decks, Skellige and Northern Realms, want more tokens. I'm going to move it. I think I am going to put it here. I think it's an excellent card. Finding your adrenaline stuff is really important. And then you get the 2 tokens, which have good synergies. I'm putting it there. Siegfried of Denzel is niche. Is it? No one. All right, let's be real. No one plays triple Sir Scratch anymore, which is his only use. Bad. Purify everything is useless. Purify 1 card's good. The reason why Purify 1 card is good is because typically you only ever need to purify 1 card at a time. Purifying everything at a time is only good if the opponent locks you constantly. And the problem with that is you have to wait until they've used all the locks to unlock your guys, which means all those turns you didn't unlock them, you lost out on your engine effects, which means you just want to purify 1 card at a time. And purifying everything is pretty useless. The other use for this, I guess we'll put them here, is the Witch's Sabbath, where you Witch's Sabbath twice. You Witch's Sabbath, then you purify with Denzel, with Siegfried, and you can Witch's Sabbath again. The issue there is you're going to purify your defender off of your Cave Troll. So I will put him here. We'll give him the niche for the Witch's Sabbath and sort of scratch triples and decks and stuff, but it's his only use. Sahil. I'm going to say Sahil's pretty good. Sahil does make its own deck. I don't think it's that strong of a deck, but I think it's a reasonable deck. So I think that gets me to put him here. Yeah, we'll put it here. 10 versions isn't that much to play towards this. Man, I like the Sahil Frost artwork. Man, it's cool. Anyway, Skellige Storm is weak. Put Storm on a row is like, storming a row isn't that bad of an effect. But you don't need that much Storm, is the thing, right? Storm is better at the end of a round. And that means you don't need that much Storm usually to get the opponent. And usually Kraken is enough. You Kraken their guys into the row and then storm them with Kraken. You usually don't need this. The only time you play Skellige Storm is you're like all in with Messenger of the Sea megascoping. Like just going all in on it. And I still think it's too expensive. Snowdrop. Yeah, let's put him up here. Snowdrop's excellent. Draw 2 cards, shuffle 2 back. 6 for 8. He gets 2 points each time you draw. That where it gets 2 points each time you draw is really where Snowdrop gets really strong. Because you combo him with things like the Nilfgaard Leader Tactical Decision, you combo him with the Pincer Maneuver orders, or you combo him with Troll Porter. Those are all fantastic uses. He gets really big in all those cases, and then you got consistency, and you got a bunch of points on him, which is where he's really good. This is a mill card and nothing else. I once made a video playing this not in a mill deck. That was a video. Yeah, this card's not good though. Yeah. No. Stregobor, you are a niche card for mill only. Range locked. Both players draw a card. It's not even a good mill card. No, it's not. No. This is bad. No, he's down there. It's bad. It's not even a good mill card. People don't even play this in mill. Next up we have Summoning Circle. I think Summoning Circle is really good. Summoning Circle really shines as an artifact off your Golden Necker that gives you additional carryover. Like say you have Siri Nova for your Golden Necker deck, you play this, you pick Imperial Golem, and you play round 1, or I guess if you're round 2, until this would go off, then you pass, and then you start the next round with Siri Nova and Imperial Golem. That's really nice. I think this is a good card. Works really well with Siri Nova and Golden Necker decks. Sunset Wanderers. Good card. Held up quite a bit because it's a Witcher and because it's 1 power for Satterwing decks. I think it's good. I think it's just good, though. I don't think it's an excellent. I think it's just good. It does get more points. It does move over in your hand. And then once it's in the rightmost spot, it plays itself and draws you a card. So it's a little bit of consistency there. It usually plays for a decent amount of points. But overall, I would say I'd probably just say it's good. The really fun thing you can do this, if you land up 1,000 Fables of Neuromancy, you get 2 Sunset Wanderers that keep moving. Like the left one moves, and then now it's in the right, so the other left one moves, and they stay where they are in your hand. They both get really big. That's fun, but it's a more meme than anything else. Surrender is a pretty good card. 2 damage to everything. is an alright effect. I'm going to put it, block it 1 down here. Yes, every Reaver player in existence plays this because it's the Platinum Patrol theory. Decks play what they are weak to. So if you're playing a Reaver deck, they will play Surrender because it's on their mind. If you're playing against a deck that just loses to Heatwave, they'll have a Heatwave in their deck. This is my theory. If they go super, super tall boosting, there's going to be a Spores in there. It's just my theory. But I think it's been pretty well held up at this point. But yeah, I think this is an alright card. 2 damage to everything in a row is an okay amount of damage. The fact that it removes 2 armor is quite good against things like Dwarves and Reavers that have a lot of armor. But I think overall, there's typically better stuff you could do than having this. Cyana, I love Cyana's art, but it's really a niche card. There's 2 main uses for Cyana. One is the armor abuse deck. We've already talked about Tainted Ale, so I won't revisit that. You just need her effect to duplicate Operator, give your opponent the double Heimei protectors. The other use is on specifically super powerful deploys. The big one here is going to be Aglace. Like, you do this on Aglace, and you get a huge Aglace. It's really funny. But you need to play towards getting an extra card advantage in that deck. Like, you can play like Siri Dash, and then regular Siri, try and get an extra card over your opponent, then drop Cyana Aglace. But, yeah. Tempest. I'm going to say Tempest has fallen off in non-symbiosis decks. It used to be an occasional option to thin out 2 from your deck. So thin out 2 Fogs, 2 Frost, whatever you want to play. It doesn't really do that anymore. Like, you don't really see people teching this into their decks to thin out 2. It's pretty common in Golden Necker before to thin out 2 like this, but you don't have to anymore. Typically now you're just going to thin out like 2 Anglerfish or something and not run this. But it is still good in Symbiosis because it is a nature, and that pulls out 2 more natures, which triggers Symbiosis 3 times in 1 turn while putting out the status effects and thinning your deck by 2. I think I'm going to leave it in good. I think it's a good card. Next up, Tesha Mutna Sword. Also a good card. Or is it okay? It's right on the border for me. I'm going to put it in the same tier as Hengate Sword, I think. So 5 damage, and then for each status on the target, do 5 again. And it does each set of 5 individually. So if they have shield, it does 5. Shield's gone, hits it again for 5. Just kills Siri Nova outright. Has a couple of very good synergies. Vampires, if they're bleeding, which they will be most of the time, you can hit them for 10. You do lose the bleeding value there, though, so it's not quite as good. The other one where it really shines, I think, is in Golden Necker Bounty, where you put Bounty on something, and then this does 10, and that's really nice. So I think it's a good card. Last Wish. It's good. Why is it good? Because Golden Necker Necromancer's Tome exists. Golden Necker Necromancer's Tome, the main goal is to play round 3. In round 3, Golden Necker, you play a unit, Necromancer's Tome, and a special that plays a unit. That special that plays a unit, you often want to be Last Wish. Because the Last Wish will play a unit from your deck, that'll then be one of the ones you already have in your graveyard for your Necromancer's Tome, which brings it back right away from the Tome value. And if not, you can just play the Last Wish to try and find your Golden Necker you missed and hope you get it. So it's just played in that deck, but it's good in that deck. Mushy Truffle, let's fix that. Alright, we fixed the Mushy Truffle, it's gone, we're on Rock Slide. Rock Slide, 4 damage, and moves the target. Rock Slide's actually quite good because of 2 synergies. One is Frenzy Dow, which is the better synergy, or more common one, I should say. Frenzy Dow, 1 Rock Slide, moves and does 4 damage. While thinning by 1. Actually, a reasonable play in some decks. But usually you want to play 2 Rock Slides, because the Frenzy Dow can play both. Then you're getting 8 damage across 2 cards with potential movement, and you're getting 2 thinning. That's really nice. The other one is Milva Sharpshooter. You just play this, hits 4, moves the target, does a 5th from Milva, then she can kill it. Overall, I think it's a good card, with those 2 synergies in mind. Trial the Grasses is also good. 6 damage or boost to 13. Or I guess not boost to 13. It sets it to 13 if the 6 doesn't kill it. So if you hit something that's like a 7, it'll go down to 1 and boost back to 13. If it's a Witcher, it just goes to 13. But sometimes people mess up and hit like a 7 thinking it just does 6 damage, then end up boosting it, which is funny. But it's a good card in Witcher decks. 6 damage or boost by 13. Witcher student tokens are pretty common. Those are 2 power, so it's 11-point boost on them, which is pretty good. And then you have that 6 damage option, so it's a good card. Triangle within a triangle is a bit weak. Yeah, it's a bit weak. It is a spell, which has some Alzur synergies. It does damage or boost equal to card's provision. Problem is, that's not good to use this on a low provision card. This has to hit a gold. And often you don't need 13 damage to kill an impactful gold. And most finisher cards, where you'd want to really punish them for being tall, it can't punish because they're usually like 8 provisions or something like that. So it's a bit weak. Its best use is like to hit your Renfrey or something. But it's a special. You can't hit Renfrey with a special, so you don't do that. But like the idea is the same. You hit a big unit of yours. I think it's too weak though. Triss Butterflies is pretty good. Draws a unit of your choice, boosts it by 3, then shuffles cards back into your deck. Works. Actually, I think the shuffle. Yeah, I think shuffle's first, isn't it? Yeah, shuffle is first, because you can do this on Torque. Shuffle the Torque back and then draw it again for more boost. That's how I know that. But yeah, I think it's a good card. It's not the best consistency. Like, Mada's better, for the most part, unless you're trying specifically to do it on Torque. So I think she's 1 tier lower. But she's not bad. I think it's an option to consider. Good option. Okay, so Triss. Let's get Triss and Yen here. Divination. Triss and Yen. Now, Yen is better than Triss. These are only played in Hyperthin. Hyperthin Tattering. Oh, that's a deck. Anyway, these are only played in Hyperthin as a payoff. And they're not good payoffs. Like, there are better ones. Rience is much better. Zarthesius is better. Of these two, Yennefer is better. Yennefer I'm putting okay, and I'm putting Triss in weak. The problem with Triss is you don't need to blast something for 23 damage, because it won't do anything. You only need like 8 damage most of the time. And you're wasting a whole bunch of value. Right? If your Triss is doing 23 damage, you're hitting a 10, you're wasting 13 value. Yennefer is still getting 23 boost. So she's just better, and I think Triss goes in lower tier. I don't think you play them both. I think you just cut Triss at this point. I think she's not good enough to make it. And even in Hyperthin, Yennefer is still not the best thing you can be doing, but she's like an okay option. Actually, she goes on here. Let's do it this way. I'll put them both in weak. Notably that Yennefer is stronger, though. Triss Meteor Shower. Oh, yeah, there we go. Now we've got the real Triss. Boom. Top tier. Triss Meteor Shower is like the finisher card for high base power units. So something like Nilfgaard, Renfrey, where they have a bunch of soldiers like 7 or 8 points. Relics, we have a bunch of 9, 10-point guys. Anything with high base power that can play a bunch of units fairly effectively. Triss Meteor Shower is a 30-plus point big finisher card. Ogroids, for example, as well. Really solid card. Really great finisher. And has the flexibility, if you're not getting your cards out, you can hit the opponent's units with it, which is really nice. Also, one of the best things you can make in Renfrey Compass, which I know I've mentioned that deck a few times, but that's a good example of what the strongest neutral cards are, the ones you make it with a Renfrey and Compass, where you just get to pick any of the neutrals. Triss Telekinesis is very good as well, because of Otkel Compass, or just Otkel, usually it's Otkel Compass. What you want to do with her is make an extra copy of Freya's Blessing, so Otkel plays an extra Freya's Blessing. That's really good for that deck. That deck really likes it. That deck's pretty good. And this just helps the deck function. So I'm going to give it good because it's good in that deck. Troll Porter, also a good card. Banish all the cards in your hand and draw the same number. Mainly for Casino Lippy, but this really lets Casino Lippy do its thing, because you get to banish all your bronzes, and then you're just getting all the golds again when you Lippy. Also decent enough in Ogroids, although not common there. I'd say overall it's a good card for the Casino Lippy decks. They really want this to function. Uma's Curse. Put this in okay as well. Another Casino card. Better than Agora True Form, I would say. But more on the fun option. If you're just trying to win with Casino decks, you just don't play this. Play like Sheep's Day Off and stuff. And more control instead of these RNG cards. But they are really fun. And they're alright. And they usually work out decently well. Yeah, creating any gold or any gold card. I think it's gold card. For some reason, I'm doubting myself now. Yeah, it's gold unit. That's what I was wondering. So gold unit. Notably, you cannot create a Stoop Stay Off from this, but you can from Aguara True Form. But yeah, it's more of a fun card. If you want to be as competitive as possible as Shoot Blippy, you just don't play this, I think. But it's fun with the casino. Vader Maker is niche. We've already mentioned a few times, this is only played with Scepter Storms and All-In Rain or All-In Non-Devotion Frost, and those are not good. So it goes here, but those decks are meta dependent. In certain metas, they do pop off, I guess, but it's not great. Mesmer Mentor is an excellent card. Adrenaline 6, I believe. Maybe I'm wrong about that one, but it boosts all Witchers in your hand, deck, and battlefield by 1. That has carryover. It has wide payoff to a deck that plays tokens, and that's just really strong. Just really strong. Vial Forbidden Knowledge. You know what? This is a 4% card. This is one of the only 4% golds. I would say the only, except we now have this guy, Elfnian Soup. It is 8 for 4. That is excellent value. It is a proactive boosting card. You can play it to the board and use its order to boost something, which has synergies in things like Northern Realms Knights, protecting engines. You have to wait for the vitality, that's true, but it's really good value if you don't use its effect. And its effect is so interesting. So if you both have Vial of Forbidden Knowledge in your deck, you both get full deck knowledge of the opponent. And you thin one, right? If both players have this card in deck, summon itself to a random row and transform. I can't see it transformed here. One flaw with the Gwent website. But it just gives you the order to see your opponent's deck list. It's so interesting. It's so interesting. And it completely changes how the game goes. But regardless of that, it's just a really good card. It's just a really good card. That's just either way, just as a 4% value card that sometimes you draw and play. But really you want to thin out with it, I think, most of the time. Just don't play this in decks that you're trying to surprise your opponent with. Because if you're trying to surprise your opponent with something like Lilith's Omen or some kind of big surprise finisher that isn't common, like maybe you're playing Igni or maybe you're playing a Scorch deck, don't play Vial Forbidden Knowledge. Don't let your opponent know you have a Scorch in your deck. Just don't do it. This is a good card. I would say it's an excellent card, but some decks don't want it. Just keep in mind, if you're trying to surprise your opponent, not to run this. Next up, we are going to see Vigo's Muzzle. Good removal card. Very good removal card. I don't think it quite makes the top tier, though. Don't think it quite makes the top tier. But you seize an enemy with 6 or lower power and lock it. The locking part's a bit annoying because if you see something that has an order, you have to purify it, or like an engine effect, you have to purify it. But just taking it and seizing it is a really good effect. I think it's a good control card. It's often overshadowed by Heatwave, but some decks want both. I think it's a good option for a control card, though. It's also a decent tempo. If you just like take a random 6, it's 12 points. Next up, we have Vivian. So, is this Golden Oriole? Which named one is this? Yeah, Oriole. This one's Oriole. So, boost self by the conversion cost of the card to the right. By the way, very similar effects, which is a little unusual. I guess not really unusual for something with a similar name. But one of these is much better. That would be Vivian over here, because she can set a enemy token to 0 as well. But anyway, Vivian Oriole. We already did Nilfgaard. Boost self by conversion cost of the card to the right. This is better. You would never play this in Nilfgaard because the Nilfgaard one's better, and Nilfgaard's where you would play the effect. So she is just going to be a bad card. Works well with Triss Meteor Shower, works well with Renfree, but it's just not worth doing. It's just not worth doing at 9 provisions. Is this Vladimir von Everett? This is the guy who swaps armor and power, right? This is just not an effect that's ever useful. Vladimir von Everett, not Vladimir. Yeah, it's a meme effect. Right, it swaps armor and power. Sometimes this would be useful against dwarves, but there's not enough armor for this to be consistently good. And often decks that do have armor have like a decent number of armor, like 3 or 4 armor, and you don't get anything out of it. You can do your own units, by the way, but why would you do this when this is better? And this is still bad. Yeah. Wolfsbane. Actually, Wolfsbane is pretty good. So here's the thing with Wolfsbane. So the two skulls are right next to each other. Interesting how that worked out. Wolfsbane sets a unit's power to 1. Now, that's a lot of points, and what really helps Wolfsbane is right here. Organic and Alchemy. Both of these categories are pretty good. Like Alchemy means you can play this in Druids to set as a tall punish that also triggers all of your crow stuff. And then Organic means you can get this with a drone in Arachne Swarm. I'd say it's a good option for a reset. It also works pretty well in Golden Necker because in Golden Necker it can be hard to find a tall punish. And sometimes it doesn't matter that you're setting it to 1, that's basically killing it. It's just like a bigger than a reset. So I think this card's actually pretty good. Maybe it deserves to be here though. Yeah, I'm gonna put it 1 down. I think it's a consideration. I think it's pretty good. I would put it like near the top of this tier, near the top of the OK tier, but we're not organizing within the tier. I just want to mention that because I think this card's actually better than most of the rest here. Xavier is good. Xavier, I should say, is good. If the meta has a lot of graveyard stuff, use Tekken Xavier, and you're happy. Usually Squirrel's enough, but if you don't think Squirrel will be enough, you Tekken Xavier and just deal with all the banished graveyard stuff. Meta dependent. Maybe you should go in niche. Maybe I had to put him in niche for meta dependency. I'm gonna put him in good because he has use setting up Witch's Sabbath as well. Yennefer, Conjurer. All right, we've got Yennefer Conjurer fixed here. I think she's okay. She is a dangerous engine if you can get her going. The problem is getting her going can be kind of tough. Works best in Shield Wall, but Shield Wall wants to do boosting stuff instead of pinging the opponent constantly, which means that she kind of has a hard time finding a spot, which means I'm going to put her in okay. You kind of have to make a deck based around her, which is awkward. Maybe there's a Golden Necker deck with her somewhere, but we'll see. Illusionist is pretty okay as well. I think okay is where Illusionist goes. When you spawn units, she does damage. There's a lot of spawning, and you can spawn pretty high base power stuff. And she does hit the lowest enemy, so you always know what she's going to hit. Then she has Death Blow, get a point. She spawns her Illusionist thing, so she plays 13 for 13 right away, assuming she can hit a 4. Then she'll get another point for Death Blowing if it's possible. So she usually plays for a good amount of power. But her Illusion just dies to 1 ping damage, which is... It's going to die with ping damage. It's fine. But I think overall she's a pretty decent card. I wouldn't put her any higher than this. Because she really has some... She is a very potent engine, but she's not one you could typically trigger every turn. Like, you get her a few times in a round. Yennefer of Vengerberg, I will move up 1 more tier, though. Because she works fantastically in Tatterwing, Arachne Swarm, and Golden Necker Arachne Swarm, as well as regular Arachne Swarm. All the Arachne Swarm decks love Yennefer Vengerberg. She doesn't always find her way into them, but she's a very good option for them to run as a way to boost all your tokens. The downside to her is if your opponent is also making a bunch of tokens or a bunch of cards. She doesn't perform as well, but I still think she warrants to be in this tier. Zoltan Scoundrel. Surprisingly, not a Scoia'tael card. Who would have known? I'm going to stick Zoltan Scoundrel. Actually, up in the top tier. He is a dwarf, and you play him in Scoia'tael, he gives you that extra dwarf on your Zoltan's company. And the fact that he does a row boost or row damage is really good value. If you use row boost with him, dwarves are pretty consistent. Then you get a full row. That's 13 for 8. That's good. It does a row boost, has Eudora synergies, it has synergies with the company like we mentioned. I think this is a really good card. I think I'd put it up here. Maybe it's overselling it. Maybe it is. No, I do think it goes up here. All right, and that should be it for the neutral golds. Let's just quickly move Decoy back down a tier so we're not memeing on people too much. I think it's a good card, though. As we said, remove that down. And let's just quickly check here. There's going to be some movements here. I'll try and do this pretty quick. Yeah, I think we'll just be moving the construct package down a bit here. No, I don't want to. Constructs are really good. Constructs are really good. This is all really good. I think this is good, actually. I like these cards that are up here. Maybe this goes down here. It's good value, but it's not like that much better than most stuff. I think I like that. Anything else in here that needs to be moved up? Maybe. I want to move this one up, actually. I want to move Professional up. It's like the choice for Witchers as removal after Eskel. Yeah, I think I'll move him up here. I think the downsides are offset enough that I think this is deserved to be up there. And this should go up here as well, thanks to the Ren free. I think that makes sense. Igni's not quite as good a choice, I think, as these. I think I like this better. We probably should move this Henegate sword down as well, despite me liking it. I think Necromancy probably deserves to be up here. It has so many uses and it's really good at it. Why are you... Oh, you're a bronze. You snuck in the gold tier list. All right, it's fine. It's the same tier list. Snuck in the gold part. I like this tier. I think it's fine. Niche is gonna be like weird ones that have specific uses. Yeah, that's fine. Weak. To be honest, a lot of the OK cards here probably need to be buffed as well. Not need to be, like, a lot of them could be buffed, I should say. Just as a principle, neutral cards are generally a little bit weaker than their faction ones. Are any of these cards secretly a meme? No, I think there's some hope. All right, we're good with this. Let's do the bronzes pretty quick here. Try and finish up this tier list video. Make sure everything's still recording, though. Okay, we're still going. Let's do the bronzes then. First up, we have Adrenaline Rush. 8 for 5 organic, but only 8 for 5 if it targets the only unit on its row. It is in a weird spot, because if you made this for provisions, it would actually be a very strong card, specifically for Arrakis Swarm. I think it could be buffed, though. It might be worth trying out, because it does go tall. It does go tall if you buff with this. I think it's weak. Could be buffed, though. Any of you guys, by the way, remember when Adrenaline Rushes gave resilience, like an 8 provision bronze? That was something, all right. Alzur's Thunder, it's okay. This is the definition of an okay card. If you want 5 damage, you can play Alzur's Thunder. Mostly monsters, otherwise you have in-faction 5 damage. But it is a spell if you're going to play Alzur. Like, it's an alright card. You can just play it for 5 damage removal. It's not bad. Is this a Arrakis Venom? This is like 3, then Deathblow, 3 to adjacents. Man, this card. Yeah, 3 damage, Deathblow adjacent, 3 damage. This is a meme. This is a meme card. If this was 4 provisions, would it be played? I think so. Actually, this would probably be good at 4 provisions. Hold on. I think I'm putting it weak then. 3 damage. The 9 ceiling on this would really actually maybe do something. I think at 4 provisions, this card's actually legitimately really good. Huh. Never thought about that before. Armor's Workshop, though, is already a very good card. Quite excellent. Workshop's fantastic. You get 6 points, 6 armor against pings. That armor really matters, and the second one's 9 with 9 in the 3 units. Works fantastic with Dennis. Works fantastic with Marauders. Works really well with like anything else that wants much armor. Works great with Elven Seers, just for good value. If you ever have more than 2 of this, each subsequent one gets the 9 points and 9 armor. It's actually just really good. Really good card. All right, let's grab the weathers. We've got Frost, we've got Fog, we've got Rain. Let's just rank them all. Rain and Fog. Grab these guys together. The fact that Tempest exists means that none of these will ever be weak because of Symbiosis. I guess we'll rank them individually here. Rain is the worst. Torrential Rain is the worst. Torrential Rain's pretty meme. But I'm going to put it in niche, to be honest. Niche, niche, niche. You only play these because you get them off of Tempest. And specifically, Tempest Rain is the worst because you're not going to pick this one for your Symbiosis deck, but you can't Tempest Rain for Rain. I'm going to leave it in weak. But the other two, yeah, you just Tempest these. And whichever one you want. That's a niche card if you've ever seen one. Bomb Tosser is okay. It's not great. It does do 3 damage if you're holding a bomb, but usually you just rather have more bombs. But if you guys to be running towards the unit cap problems, you could play Bomb Tosser. Bone Talisman's really good, like super good. Let's stick this in excellent. One of the rare cases of an excellent bronze, you'd only play one of though. Boost all of your units by 1. Really, pretty much limited to Rakastorm. It is an organic, so you get a token there, but this will often play for 15 plus, pretty consistently in a Rakastorm. So I think it definitely warrants an excellent tier. It's so much value. And plus, whenever you play a swarming deck, like recently I was playing some Uprising Swarm, but I mean recently, you just wonder, like maybe a Bone Talisman would work. It does work best in a Rakastorm though, because you get so many tokens so fast. Caravan Guard does 1 damage for every 3 power the unit has. This is a meme card. It just got nerfed. I think people are making this a placeholder nerf for the Bounce Council, which means it will never be playable. I hate when people do that, but whatever. Caravan Vanguard is really, really good. I will put this in excellent. If you look at Caravan Vanguard here, the reason this card is so strong is because of how the interaction with Highwayman works. So deploy, range, spawn a base copy. How Gwent works is deploy effects go off before other things check conditions. So for example here, we deploy, spawn the base copy first. Then other effects check. We go to Highwayman. When you play a bonded unit you already control a copy of, summon self from deck. It sees the Caravan Vanguard, deploys first, it deploys the copy, then it sees you played the Caravan Vanguard, it sees that it has the deploy already gone off, so it sees you play the Caravan Vanguard with one already on board. So 1 Caravan Vanguard ranged pulls out both Highwaymen. That's why this card's so good. It thins 2 on its own, and then the bonded effect's also pretty good. Next up, we'll grab the Highwaymen because we're talking about them at the same time. Also excellent. It's a double bronze thin, which is why this is really good. Then you Cosmo them. Works well with Morntart and stuff. So I think these two are warranted being up here. They go together. Clear Skies is a meme. It's actually not a meme. I've played this card before. I have played this card before. Much better coming off the Ragnarok. I'd rather play Ragnarok than this. Boosts everything on a row by 1. And it is, in fact, a nature, right? Yeah, it's a nature. The thing with this card is, on paper, it's not that bad. 8 or 9 boosts for 4 is really nice, but you usually your cheap cards are the ones that spawn all the tokens. So this card's unfortunately a meme, I think. I don't think this is ever really going to be used. Crow's Eye, actually legitimately decent card. Purify and boost by 4. Purify allied unit. Specifically for druids, this is an option for druids. I would put it in the okay, though. I think the other options are better. I think you'd rather have Mahakam Ale to unlock and trigger Ale the Ancestors, but this is a legitimate choice to consider. Does that mean it's better than these? No, I think it also unlocks your Griffin Witcher. I've seen people do that too. I'm gonna put this in the good, but it's way at the bottom of good. All right, this card is bad. Yeah, this is Cutthroat. Cutthroat's bad. The problem with Cutthroat is the first effect is so bad. Destroy with 2 or less. That's so bad. And Bonded, here's the thing. There has been power creep, so that 4 or less doesn't really kill out all the engines anymore. So this card's just, the first form is really bad, and the second one used to be okay, and now it's also bad. Well, it's not bad, but you have to have the Bonded, and the first one basically does nothing, which isn't good enough. All right, where's the bombs? Dancing Star, Puffball, Dimeridium Bomb. We're ranking these all together. Samum. Northern. That's not Northern Wind. That's the other one. Moondust. Where's Northern Wind? Northern Wind. That's and that way we need this one. Red Haze. That's all the bombs, right? So bombs. Bombs. Madoc is good. We're just gonna rank all the bombs together. Do a quick Dimeridium Bomb's pretty good. 4 damage, gives Veil. The Veil's sometimes useful to block status effects on a card like Resilience or something. But usually it's just 4 damage for a bomb. It's fine. Northern Wind's good as well. 5 damage. Or 4 damage. The Death Blow Banish is nice. Usually you don't need 2 of this. You usually need 1 in your deck. Moondust, also pretty good. You play one of these often to just remove statuses. Also pretty good. Dancing Star has the most value of the bombs, other than Red Haze, because you can kill a bunch of smaller guys with it. And you can usually Death Blow with this because of the Cataclysm setting it up somehow. Samum is a pretty weak bomb, to be honest. You don't really play this one, but you can. It's like a suboptimal choice. Puffball is going to be down here in weak. You don't play this. We're just ranking these, by the way, because bombs are legitimately only for Madoc decks. And we're just ranking all the bombs quickly here. And then we have Red Haze, which is also good because it has the highest value, highest reach, can be used pretty well. I think that's where I rank the bombs. Overall, bombs are good, but it's really Madoc that carries them. Shackles, good card. And I'm just going to stick Shackles in Excellent, actually. Remember, ranking the neutral cards on the neutral scale, where they're considered as options, right? This option, fantastic. Everything can have a 4-version lock. I was worried this would be too good when the balance change was made. Turns out it's just a good option to have. Doppler just got changed a few days ago. I think now it's a really good card. At 4 provisions, just playing this in Renfree Nilfgaard, it's going to be almost always an 11 for 4 opener, which is really good. It just plays worse with the Triss Meteor Shower, but I think it's fine. Let's see, we have Dwimveandra. Dwimveandra, I think I want to put up here. Dwimveandra is excellent. The ability to reset your orders on the artifacts, the chapter on scenarios no one cares about, it's the order on artifacts. There's a couple of really good targets for this. Care Trollday, Garrison, those are the big ones. Really good value there, and you can also play it on Mushy Truffle in something like Druids. So I think the Care Trollday, though, and Garrison one are where it's at. I think I would put this up here. So much value potential. But it's 6 revisions. I'm knock it down 1. That's better. Elder Bear. Guys, Elder Bear. I don't really want to do this because Elder Bear has been nerfed. It's 5 power. And I really don't want to go through and take a picture of Elder Bear and put it in here, but we will. Give me a second. All right, Elder Bear. We have fixed it. Where is it? Put it on the tier list. Oh no, I lost my Elder Bear. Oh, there it is. 5 power. Elder Bear. I really hate doing this. Elder Bear is an okay card. It's an okay card because you can play it in Rent-Free Beasts or Corrupted Flaminica All-In Beasts as an extra beast name, and that's fine. Legitimately, this card's okay because of that. It just makes your Corrupted Flaminica 2 points bigger. If your Corrupted Flaminica is 2 points bigger, This card's effectively a 7 for 4 with 2 points of carryover on the crop left from Linica. You can think about it like that. That's not exactly how it works, but it's kind of like that, which is okay, because you just care about your finisher being as big as possible in that deck. So it's actually okay. Nothing else would ever play this, though. Epidemic. Decent option. Destroying a 4 precision unit. Pretty good sometimes, actually, and this card is a decent tech option you want to run in your deck. If you're running a deck that just wants more control, you can run an Epidemic. It's one of those cards, you can kind of tell cards that are okay because they're things you consider in Shoop, right? Like, you wouldn't play it in a normal deck, but in Shoop, you'd like running one of this. I think it's a fine option. I think it's all right. Fortune Teller, I think, is unexperimented with, but probably still a bit weak. It's Deploy, Give Veil, or Doomed. Deploy, Give Veil, you'd rather be Order so you can proactively set it up on something. So that part usually isn't great, but it is good against Poison. It is good against Poison because you can stop the second Poison coming down. Like, that part's pretty nice, right? The Deploy, Give Veil. And Deploy, Give Doomed is surprisingly also as useful. I think this card's just underutilized. I think we might try it out a bit. I don't think it's good as these cards, though. I think I'm gonna stick it down here in the... I'm gonna stick it here. We'll try it out. I think this is probably on the lower end, though. Golden Froth. Let's just grab the cards here. These two go together. So these cards are carried by Ale the... Where the heck is Ale the Ancestors? Huh. I must have accidentally deleted it. Well, we're going to have to grab that. 1 second. All right, we've got our Ale the Ancestors. What happened, as I just figured this out, is I accidentally saved... Ale. This has been changed a few times, and so has Tainted Ale. I accidentally saved this as Ale, and then saved this as Ale to overwrite it, which is why I had 2 Tainted Ales. I figured it out, guys. It's been fixed. We're going to pretend this is a bronze card, which is the least pretending thing ever. This card's incredible. But let's start off by talking about Ale the Ancestors. We kind of need to do that first here. Ale the Ancestors is straight up top tier and way up in top tier. It's fantastic. It gives 3 points of boost on a Resilience artifact, which means you can typically get 5 orders off of this, which is 15. It's cooldown 2. Like, you can get 5 orders in 1 round. Typically, that's what you get. And 4 or 5 in 1 round. 5 can be hard sometimes, but 4 or 5 in 1 round. And then you get, say, 2 in the next round. So it's usually about 21 points with carryover potential, and you can use it to proactively boost your engines. Those are all individually really good things. And combined together into 1 card, it's fantastic. It is expensive, but it's still fantastic. Now, back to where we were. Golden Froth is okay. It can be a one-of if you're trying to play around with Druids and with the Ale the Ancestors. It can also be a one-of in a Shoop deck running Ale the Ancestors, because it's fine. Mahakam Ale, though, I'm putting this in top tier. Mahakam Ale is Unlock Boost by 5. This is really good because you can use it to flexibly either protect your engine by boosting it if it's taking damage, or unlock your engine if it's being locked. And it does both in the same card, which is really nice. It's also a synergies with the Ale the Ancestors, which gives infused on the things I didn't even mention that. It infuses the target with, when it's targeted by when the Ale the Ancestors targeted thing gets the infused, it gets an extra 2 from this and an extra 2 when targeted by this. What that means is those cards play for 2 more, which means that if you infuse something 4 or 5 times with this, each of these will give like 10, 15 points. Now that goes really, really tall. But if you know your opponent doesn't have tall punish, you just kind of win. You also do fun stuff with Ale the Ancestors where you infuse the opponent's cards and then boost them really tall, then Evar Evilium, stuff like that as well. So really good. Anyway, I think this card's good on its own, even without Ale the Ancestors. Like, this is a really good tech one-of in your deck. It's sometimes better than Pellar. It depends what you want. Depends on your deck. Ballad. Oh, how do we rank this? I don't want to say it's meme because it's 24 for 4. The 24 is conditional on 4 specific unit categories and vitality. I also don't want to rank this highly because the best deck for this is Reavers, and I really don't want to deal with that. For those of you wondering, the reason Reavers is the best deck for Inspirational Ballad is you need a Dwarf, Witcher, Human, and a Beast, right? Or Vampire. It's Vampire. Yeah, Dwarf, Witcher, human vampire. Now, the reason this is the best in Reavers is because you play Iron Falcon Troubadour, which gives you an extra copy of your Reaver. It gets locked, which then summons out your what's it called? Your Redanian Secret Service, which then unlocks it. And that's 2 categories with 3 units on board, and you're like, well, I can just keep working with this. I think it's still meme, to be honest. It's a really fun meme, and actually it gets good value. The problem is it's too hard to get enough categories on board for the vitality to tick all the way. That's, I think, the issue here. It works really well with Prism, but yeah, it is random. It's not the reason it goes well with Prism is because that deck runs tries to make multiple frog mating season, since the frogs that really do it. But because that deck tries to accelerate the vitalities, it works well in it because they synergize. Because you want to accelerate vitality on both. Infantry is bad, weak. This card needs a buff. It's 1 point. It's the old Maggie division. It's 1 point a turn if it's the only unit on its row, and if it's bonded, it gets 1 point regardless. It's too low power. It's too low power. It needs to be buffed. Iron Falcon Infantry. This card's okay. Not infantry, a Falconer or something. Knife Juggler. You can make all-in Knife Juggler decks. It's not as good as pretty much anything else that you can do with all-inning like this, but you can make it work in Nilfgaard with imposters and stuff. Not imposters, illusionists and stuff. It can work, but it's not the best. No, I think Troubadour, though, is actually pretty good. Troubadour has 2 main uses. One is, we already mentioned, giving you extra secret services. Not secret services, extra Reavers. Also can give you extra... funnily enough, I don't think Century Royal Guard can't do, because it's actually not a bonded card. Because it's deploy. Came out before bonded. But you can do extra Crow Clan Preachers is the big one, right? And then you combo this into this, and you unlock it. Pretty good. So it's a good card overall. You can also get extra copies in the Harpy deck, where you make extra Harpies and value that way with a Morntart finisher. This guy, King Cobra. I always find it weird that this card is not the guy, it's the snake is actually the card because it's a beast. So the snake is the actual card, you're not this guy in the picture, which is funny to me. I think it's okay. You don't really play him, you play other poisons instead. No, he's down here. Yeah, he's down there. Lacerate. Weak. 2 damage, row punish isn't enough, and it's too expensive. Mantle it. Okay. Specifically, if you want to do a bunch of armor synergies, you can use Mantle it, and it is a siege engine. But that being said, it's not the best. Like, you'd be better off just playing Elven Seers to make more copies of your Armor's Workshop and stuff. You know what? This is going down here too. Mastercrafted Spear. Good card. If you have 6 provisions left for removal, having 6 damage is often the number you want to kill key stuff. And the fact is overkill. If you kill something weak, you can kill a second weak thing. I think this card's good. I just have trouble finding spots for it in my decks, but I think it is a good card. Megascope, also a very good card. Yeah, good card. Do I want to put this in top tier? At 4 provisions, this card is in super top tier. At 5, I think it's just good. Yeah, I think it's just good now, but it is definitely good. Because it works really well with high base power stuff like Golden Necker decks with, say, like Skellige Golden Necker, where you have great swords. Copying great swords for this is really nice. Making extra crows is really nice. Crow messengers, making extra shield maidens is good for Ceres Lippy decks. It has a lot of good uses. Next up, Offering is also a good card. Kind of carried a little bit by Allgod, but even without Allgod, Destroy a 4, ignores armor, ignores shield, kind of nice. 4 cutoff can be difficult to work with. Usually you need a deck that can do pings like soldiers or something. And 2 deck boost is good. You can deck boost the Witchers, we already mentioned that. Deck boost some other finisher card. It's just a good card. Especially because you've Allgod with it. Ophiri Merchant. Guys, stop playing Ophiri Merchant. It's really bad. Legitimately, though, I'm not going to actually put it down here. I'm putting okay. It's specifically a Shoop card. Like, this is a card you can play in your Shoop deck to try and get the opponent. but I do think it's still... No, it's me. Guys, every time I've seen a Fury Merchant played, it's been terrible. Please, if you've watched this long and you play a Fury Merchant and you like it, comment to me and I'll mentally move it up a tier for you. If you comment, I'll mentally move this up into the okay tier. Oxenford Scholar. This card's really good. I'm actually giving this the excellent tier. I think this goes up here. So +1 for each 11 or higher fusion card in your deck. Coincidentally, all the dragons are 11 or higher. So that's a whole bunch there. And in those decks, it's a really big point slammy bronze, like 9, 10, 11 point. Oh, Oxenford Scholars is possible. Really good. Just to have this as an option to make big points. It helps you out a lot because what happens when you top deck stack your deck, putting all these expensive things in, is your bronzes tend to not be good value. And this helps fix that, which is really good. It makes you give you good value bronze. Pact is only played in Keltalis as an extra boost option. Because of that, it goes in niche. Peasant Militia. Legitimately not terrible. I'll put this in okay. 4 for 4 that gets a point each time you play a card with deploy. That's surprisingly not that bad. There's a lot of things that are better, but it's not that bad. I'll put it in okay. Actually, I think this got buffed to 5. It might actually be like a good card. No, I think it's okay. The okay cards here are a little... No, let's go down here. It's on the border, though. I could see it. Peller. Let's just grab the trio here. The Trinity of neutral bronze 4 version cards. Just grab the Trinity, rank them all together. Because I'm just feeling it now. I've been recording this for so long. Let's try and get this over with. All right. Peller. Purify anything. Incredibly flexible. Really good. Remove poisons, remove resilience from the opponent's cards. That's why it's I think it's better than Ale, but Ale is also good for different reasons. They go in different decks. But this is really good. It's super flexible. Remove poison, veil, resilience, whatever you want. Squirrel, banish from the graveyard. Removing the second copy of an Echo is really good. Removing a graveyard card that comes back like Madoc, Flying Redanian is really good. Highland Warlord, and Relics, stuff like the big Self-Eaters, whatever comes back is really good for Squirrel. And Spores, and decks that against decks that to go really tall, you get a really big 4 version value out of it. So these are the probably the best 4 version cards in the game. And they're all going to be in this top tier. Best 4 version neutrals, I mean. We got Petrie's Filter, also good. Petrie's Filter mainly used for very dangerous orders. Stuff like Radovid to then decoy. Stuff like Rot Tossers. That's more of a meme deck, but things like that with really good orders. Used to be Damien you'd do this with. Not anymore, though. But I think the big one's Radovid. Like, you do this on Radovid to get the extra leader charge from literally decks. It's pretty good. Puppet Master as well. You can snipe the opponent's big bronzes with it. Piercing Javelin. Bad. 4 damage, ignoring armor is not good. Because it costs 5. If this costs 4, it would actually be pretty good. But it doesn't cost 4, it costs 5. So this needs to be buffed to be playable. Renfri's Gang. Go up here. Renfri obviously is incredible, but Gang is also really good. You get a 12-point tempo play that thins 1. The thing is, it does cost 6 provisions each on them, but it's a big tempo play that thins your deck, which is really good. It's just very good cards there. Sandstorm, 3 damage to the units on the ends of the row. Used to be meta. Legitimately, this was a meta card before they changed the unit cap to minimum of 13. It actually was played before that. And it's full no unit, which is funny to me, but right now this card is bad. Maybe at 4 it could be played. Well, I don't think so. Sapper. Ooh, Sapper going up here. Sapper kind of makes bombs along with Madoc. You play a bomb from your hand, then each time you play a bomb, you do 1 ping damage. When you play a bomb, then you draw a card. And the important thing here is this is a soldier, so you can spam it with slave drivers. But even in the non-Nilfgaard bomb decks, it plays a bomb and makes your bombs do 1 more damage, and it cycles a card, which is really good. Because the bombs don't have that high of value on their own, just adding more damage to them and thinning your deck is really good to get to your big finisher cards. Scout. This guy's Veil, right? He moves a card, but I'm pretty sure he's Veil. Or he's just Veil, right? The other one's Move. The Strays. No, yeah, he does have Move. They swapped the Strays around at some point. And he does not have Veil. For some reason, I thought this guy must have used to have Veil, and they swapped the effects around. Scout. Move a card to the row. No. It's bad. It's really bad. 4 for 4 move. The problem here is that there are better movements. You're never going to bother to play this. Never. It's so bad. It needs power buffs to be playable. I don't think it's ever going to be playable, though. The thing is, there are already movement effects that are pretty played. So you have Vriad Dragoon and Scoia'tael that can move an enemy or an ally. This, by the way, can move an ally or an enemy same way, but it doesn't give the 1 damage or the 2 boost. The 2 boost lets you protect your own cards if you don't need to move them, and lets you damage an enemy by 1 if you do need to move them a combo with your Milva. It's bad. Ooh, Spring Equinox is really good, though. Spring Equinox is a excellent card. Nature, boost by 1 for each nature in your starting deck. Other than itself, this card was changed a while back when it was really good. And you just play this in your Symbiosis deck as your big non-devotion Symbiosis finisher. Because it'll be either 9 or 10, depends if you're running Heatwave or not. You play double off of Simloss, triggers your Symbiosis effects, and big point play that spreads out because you play 2 of these with Simloss, which means they go on different targets. You can duplicate them with Elven Seers if you want to go that approach. Overall, really strong card for that deck. And actually, like, this is probably one of the best cards in that deck. Next up, Stammelforged Tremors. This card's terrible. 1 damage to all units. All enemy units, I should say. All enemy units. Guys, it's 1 damage to everything does not matter. In order for this to be good, you have to hit like 11 or 12 units. Probably 12 units because you're going to hit armor and shields and stuff. No. It's a meme. Even if this card's buffed, it's still a meme. You have to hit so many things with this, you just rather do something else. Strays of Spala. Pretty good card, actually. Strays have some good uses. So, shuffle a gold from your hand into your deck, then draw a bronze and boost by 4. Now, here's the thing with Strays. It's actually good, because usually you say, yeah, I want my gold cards, not my bronzes. But, specifically in Lippy decks, with Troll Porter decks as well, usually it's the same deck, but you want your golds not to be banished by Troll Porter, so you just stick them back in with Strays of Spala. And for that reason, it's actually pretty good. Also an 8-point play. Swallow, same thing as Pact, only played in Calculus to boost. That is a spot in the game, but it gives it a niche spot. Teleportation, good card. Very flexible card. I'm actually going to move this up a tier, actually. I think I want to put it here. Teleporting Griffin Witcher Mentor is what makes Traveling Priestess and Melidly so strong. You keep teleporting Griffin Witcher Mentor. Well, teleportation in particular is not why, but it's just more ways to play Griffin Witcher Mentor, which is why the deck's so good. It's non-interactive, and they get their big finisher. Teleportation has some other good uses as well. Things like Deploy, Caravan Vanguard, you can use this on. Seen that. Pretty good in Relics. You can boost the, what's his name? Xian, however you say it. That thing, boost that one. You can replay your Self-Eater, or things to replay things to boost all your Self-Eaters. Replay Incubus is good. You can reset bronze at base power as well if you're not replaying them. Or non-bronzes base power if you don't replay them. I think teleportation. Nah, I'm gonna leave it here. I think it's good. Next up, ooh, Thaw actually has a place. So it says boost by 5 and give Veil. You just play this on Griffin Witcher. It's like you have a Crystal Skull. You just put it on Griffin Witcher. They usually only play like 1 to do that, but it's a legitimate option. Thunderbolt though is weak. 3 with 3 boost. I have tried to make this card decent. The idea is there, like you have a proactive point thingy. It's just too expensive. Yeah, 4 provisions, this card might actually be played. Traveling Merchant, shuffle a card back in, draw a card. One of the funniest premium artworks for those of you who have actually played this card. It's got a blue screen, code lines behind it in the sky every so often. I think that's hilarious. Doesn't save the card, though, from being bad. It shuffles the card back first, then draws a card. I believe. It just draws like a random card. Yeah. Draw card. There's just better. There's just better draw. And it can actually draw you the same card, I think. But, yeah, not good. Undying Thirst is okay. If you're going to all-in Flutters, this can be a non-devotion vampire card to give you big Flutter boosts. I don't think that's as good as the other vampire decks. I think you'd rather just not play this, but it is a legitimate option if you just go all-in and spamming Flutters and Megascopes and stuff. It legitimately can work, but I think it's not quite as good. Then we have Strays here, the wrong one. Let's remove that at the end. We'll get there when we get there. Wagenberg is bad. Wagenberg, just not good. So, Wagenberg, Barricade, give 1 armor to adjacent units. Mantlet is better, because it's deploy, and Mantlet gives armor even without the Barricade on. Because Mantlet's Barricade, we should have talked about Mantlet more. Mantlet gives 2 armor if it's barricaded, which is significant. 2 armor is really, like, a lot if you give all your units. It's actually legitimately enough protection to get most engines out of 5 damage removal range. Whereas this is just 1 to adjacent. Mantlet's much better than this. That being said, this is only a 4, but it's too low power. It's too low power, and the opponent's not going to care to interact with it. Wagon. Wagon is good. It's good for 2 cards, Self-Eater, and more importantly, Reavers. You banish a Reaver, then you click this with a Darin at the start of a round. You have 2 Reavers to start off with. So I'm going to stick this in niche because that's a niche deck, though. It's the same thing with the Darin. Like, these guys basically go in the same deck. Darin has some more uses. The Darin has some more uses, but I think they go in the same tier. Okay. Watchman guy here. I have played this card several times. Shield, order, give shield. I have legitimately used this card several times. That being said, I always ended up cutting after. It's just almost there. It's almost there. 5 for 5 with shield, order, give shield. Order, give shield's what you want. You want order, give shield to protect your engines, right? You play it, give out shield. It protects it from damage. That's nice. In fact, its order is nice. In fact, it has shield is nice because your opponent will never kill this thing before you get to use it, right? They're not going to do the Giga Scorpion decoction to this. That's for sure. And other than that, it already has shield and 5 power, so they're not killing it with Tourney Joust, which means this thing just lives. Like, you get to put shield on what you want to put it on. It's just the shield's not quite valuable enough. It's almost valuable enough, but not quite. I think this card needs to be like 4 provisions maybe, but I think the 5 version holds it back. But yeah, I've played this card quite a few times actually. It's just almost there. Will-O-Wisp. Same deal. It's almost there. Destroy a Doomed. There's some really good Doomed cards. Patriciidal Fury token, Arnulf, good target. Stuff like that. Their tokens are they're all doomed, so you can hit them with this. The thing from the box, stuff like that. But whenever you're doing this, you're deliberately making your deck to try and take advantage of this, and that's just not good. This card, to be good, this card needs to fit more naturally in decks. Like, it has to be 4 Persians, I think. And then it might actually be a good card. But right now, it's not quite there. Wolfpack, though, is already pretty good. Specifically for Tatterwing, because it's 1 power that boosts. And also Renfrey Beast, like Corrupted Luminica Beast as well. It's a beast name, so that's good there. And overall, it's pretty decent in those decks. I would say it's a good card. Gets pretty big, actually. Like 9 for 4 is pretty good. Then Wyvern Scale Shield. It's okay. 4 point and boost, you don't care. You just discard this, and then later on, you discard this in your Lippy deck or something, and then maybe you get the shield on something later. But Wyvern Scale Shield, it's alright. Boost by 4 and give shield. Graveyard give shield. It can be useful, but it's really more of a shoop lippy type of card. But that's not a bad place to be. You can be used there. And then it leaves us just with this extra one we have to remove later. Do I want to change any of these? I think these 3 deserve their own tier. That's for sure. The only card I could see joining these 3 up here is Oniromancy. And I don't think it quite makes the cut. Well, actually, I think it definitely doesn't make the cut. I think these 3 are in a league of their own. As far as the rest here, though, I think we're good. Yeah, I'm sure we mislabeled or something, or misrepresented something with consistency. We probably were inconsistent with a couple cards here because it's been a very long video. Probably like 4 or 5 hours at this point, but I'll get edited down. The parts I get edited down where I just keep taking breaks of fixing cards I had the wrong picture for, but you guys don't get to see that, thankfully. This one I could see people throwing down here, but I do think it has a spot in Lippy Shoop decks. Yeah, that's the tier list, guys. Let me know what you think. Hopefully you enjoyed. And as much as these tier lists are kind of fun, recording them is not fun because it takes so long I lose my voice. So I'm glad we'll have to wait another year to see these again. But it's fun to see the changes between the years. And we'll see what happens next year. So hope you guys enjoyed. And we'll see you in the next one where we're playing some decks again.